That's a wonderful tribute to Sven-Göran Eriksson there. 5 Live from the BBC tonight in St Andrews, where there has just been a wonderful minute's applause for Sven-Göran Eriksson, a manager, Stephen, who called you up into a few England squads.
Yeah, fantastic guy and a lovely manner about him. He was such a funny guy as well. He had this nice sense of humour about him, knew how to handle the players, but did a magnificent job throughout the world of being a manager in great teams. Arguably one of his biggest achievements was winning the league at Lazio in his time, which was just a quite remarkable achievement.
Already a goal in the Carabao Cup tonight. Queen's Park Rangers have taken the lead against Luton in one of the 7:45 kickoffs. This is the 8 o'clock start in the second city. This is the 65th year of the League Cup, which began in the early 1960s. Birmingham City against Fulham, third tier against Premier League. As for the first time in the game, Fulham tried to come on the attack. Ethan Laird, a former Manchester United player, was able to intercept there. And now Fulham will come with Ryan Sessegnon down the left-hand side, sends in a low cross, which Birmingham, after a few touches, do manage to clear away. Goal at Harrogate against Preston. Charlie Slater.
15 minutes on the clock, Preston leading by 1-0. Sam Greenwood, 25-yard free kick, curling into the top corner. It's a beauty for his first Preston goal. Harrogate 0, Preston 1.
And an immediate equaliser at Loftus Road. It's Queen's Park Rangers 1, Luton 1 already. So, Birmingham, who made 8 changes for their first round win over Charlton, but just 2 changes tonight, showing that Chris Davis wants to make a big impact and wants to do his best and show what his side can do against this Premier League team. For people who don't know Chris Davis, he was assistant to Ange Postecoglou at Tottenham. He'd worked extensively in the past with Brendan Rodgers. He was with him at Swansea, Liverpool, Celtic, Leicester. And he has come in, and his signings so far have hit the ground running, and Birmingham fans have been pleased with what they have seen. Millwall 1-0, Leyton Orient 1, the latest of the many games across the EFL Cup tonight. We'll keep you up to date with them all throughout the evening here on 5 Live. Joachim Andersen, the Danish international, back in Fulham colours, and I just feel this must be nice for him, coming back into a scene that he knows so well. He'll know many in the dressing room, he'll certainly know many in the clubs, and he will expect to be comfortably back in those white shirts, Stephen.
Yeah, and I think it's very simple for him where he lives as well, isn't it? Knowing the area, knowing the location, knowing the training ground, the staff, and that makes life very easy when you move into a club. And also as well, I'm sure the contract that he'll be getting later on in his career, he won't have left Crystal Palace for less money. He'll be moving for the riches as well. There's no getting away from that, but he's made a move that he feels is right for him.
His last appearance for Fulham was May 2021. Joachim Andersen, but he's back tonight. Goal at Grimsby against Sheffield Wednesday. Here's Nats Premji.
Yes, it's Grimsby Town 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Glancing header from Cameron McJanet from a corner. It's Grimsby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0.
This is one of 2 8 o'clock kickoffs tonight. The other is at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace against Norwich's Flo Pollock.
And we've not even played 2 minutes and Crystal Palace lead. A debut goal for Daichi Kamada, played in by Jean-Philippe Mateta, slotted home. Crystal Palace 1, Norwich 0.
Thanks very much, Flo. Birmingham City 0, Fulham 0 here. Birmingham on the attack down the right-hand side with Ethan Laird, who's cut back in for the right-back position. He tried to lay it left-footed into the penalty area. The ball comes back to Christopher Clarer, the Austrian. A decent cross delivered into the middle. Janderson is underneath it, and Joachim Andersen's firm header goes out for a throw-in, and Birmingham remain on the attack down the right-hand side.
Yeah, good play from Birmingham, making sure that they recycle the ball, get them crosses into the box. The quality is going to have to be better though, because Anderson, and he's going to be eating those headers up. That's comfortable for him.
Here, Birmingham on the attack into the penalty area. Alfie May, and the angle was very tight, and he got his laces through it, but it spun away off target, and that is a goal kick to Fulham away to our right-hand side. 7:15 kick-off this evening at Middlesbrough. It's reached half-time there already. Middlesbrough trailing at home to Stoke at the Riverside Borough, who beat Leeds at Ellen Road a couple of weeks ago in the first round. Here is Kishi Anderson, who scored his first goal of the season in the win over Leyton Orient on Saturday. He's fouled midway inside Fulham territory, but this has been a bright start for Birmingham so far. Stephen Warner.
It has, and lovely take on the back foot there from Anderson. It just took it away from Sander Berger, but they very clearly hand on, play the free kick quickly, get the move going again. They're not trying to just live off set pieces. They're looking to play Birmingham, which is going to be an interesting player sort of idea for them, because Fulham's press will be extremely good.
Birmingham are trying to be clever here. They're trying to play it out for the back, but they've lost it on the edge of their own penalty area. Jay Stansfield tries to rattle in a right-footed shot, and Christian Bielik makes the block on the edge of the area. And so many of the teams these days try to play it out for the back, and everyone wants to pretty football. There's always a time and a place, and Birmingham nearly got caught there, but you admire the ambition of what they are trying to do against a Premier League standard opponent. And I think that's a point to make here tonight, is that although Fulham have made 11 changes, this isn't sort of bringing in kids we've never heard of before. Every single one of these players, you'd expect them to play in the Premier League. It wouldn't raise an eyebrow.
No, not at all. They'll play at some point this season, and they'll be making sure that they're trying to prove a point to Marco Silva on the sideline. But it is a dangerous game, because what you can't do is you can't try and play out time and time again, because they do set traps better, Premier League players.
Foul on Alfie May just inside the penalty area that Birmingham are attacking, and that's going to be a free kick. It's about 8 to 9 yards outside the box. It's too far out to shoot from there, but this is a good platform to try and set the big men up for the back, to try and create something. And Fulham are forced to bring all players back behind the ball. 0-0 at St Andrews. Birmingham City against Fulham in the second round of the Carabao Cup this evening, live for the BBC. So free kick is going to be taken. There is ostensibly a one-man wall, but as I said, this is so far out, it's surely going to be a crossing position. Stephen Bender, the German goalkeeper, won't be taking any chances, wearing yellow, away to our right hand side. And Mark Leonard standing over the ball, having a look at it. Alex Cochrane, the recent summer signing from Hearts, a left-footed player, is there too. He runs over the ball, which is sent into the middle and is comfortably headed away by Jorge Cuenca, the Spanish defender who's recently joined from Villarreal. And Birmingham, who had been on the attack on the edge of the penalty area, will come back to the edge of their own box, and then it's launched long towards Alex Cochrane once again, and he's done well to hold it up for Alfie May. We'll be going to Goodison Park in just a moment. Let's just see what Birmingham do with this attack, with Cochrane down the left-hand side. Alfie May holding up the ball in a more central location, then he tries to ping one forward. Anderson's onto it, flag was raised, wouldn't have counted anyway. Good ideas though from Birmingham. May's through ball anticipated by Kishi Anderson, but the flag is raised for offside. Everton against Doncaster. Tom Gales at Goodison Park.
0-0, Connor. 22 minutes played. Please jump in if you need to, but Doncaster have a free kick. Centre on, 25 yards out. They're yet to venture into Jordan Pickford's goal, but towards, it was number 11, Gibson, with a mazy run. He was brought down. The referee had no doubts about it. He's pointed to a free kick, which League 2 Doncaster are currently stood over. We've played 23 minutes. He's going to be taking it right-footed in front of the Gladys Street. Can he get it over the wall? He can, but it flicks up overhead, goes behind for a Doncaster corner. Everton 0, Doncaster 0.
Thanks very much, Tom. Those two met in this competition last season. I've never been at the game at Doncaster. Doncaster took the lead, and Everton came back late to win it 2-1. Stansfield tries to attack down the left for Fulham here. Christopher Clara comes charging across, the summer signing from Darmstadt, the German club who finished bottom of the Bundesliga and were relegated. He's been involved now in every game for Birmingham since joining the club in the summer. Well-timed sliding challenge there, which didn't go out for a corner, it's gone out for a throw-in, which Harry Wilson is going to come across to take. Watford have taken the lead against Plymouth. Watford won, Plymouth 0. Mileta Rajkovic with the goal there. So Wilson, the Welsh international who scored against Birmingham the last time Fulham played here, rolls the corner short to Harrison Reid, back to Wilson, rehearsed move to the edge of the area. Tom Kearney took a touch to steady himself. It's been handled inside the box, and it's going to be a penalty to Fulham. No VAR in the League Cup. Alex Cochrane throwing his body to try and make the block. Tom Kearney, who I felt didn't really have enough time to take the touch he did before the shot, and allowed the defender to engulf him, but in doing so it has created a wonderful opportunity for Fulham here. A penalty in the opening 9 minutes and a chance to take the lead away at Birmingham. Stephen Warner.
Yeah, beautifully worked set piece by Fulham. They get a 2v1 situation down the left hand side. They pull it back to Tom Kearney. As you say, his touch isn't the best, and I thought he's done extremely well, Alex Cochrane, to get out and make sure that he closes him down. Now the referee must have felt that his arms were in an unnatural position. It looked very close to the edge of the box as well.
In the last round, Ryan Alsop, the Birmingham goalkeeper, saved a penalty against Charlton. Now he faces the Mexican Raúl Jiménez, a former Wolves player who's taking a very long run up here. He's gone to the edge of the D. He's going to charge up with these bright orange boots to take this. Fulham's number 7, right-footed spot kick, and he scores, sends the keeper the wrong way. It's a cruel start to the game for Birmingham, who had done so well, but Birmingham conceding the penalty, conceding the goal with what realistically was Fulham's first proper attack of the game. Let's bring in Gary Rowett, former Birmingham City manager. That is a disappointment for the home fans, the manner of how they've gone behind.
Absolutely, and I think they've started so brightly, they've started so full of energy and quality early in this game, and sometimes when you're playing against the Premier League side, you know that a moment of quality can take the game away from you, but it wasn't even that, was it? It was so close to the ball when he struck it. It felt as though his arm had to have been out, because from that distance I don't think you could have given anything. So the referee must have seen something we probably couldn't see from here.
No, and we're just in a position where we don't have a replay in front of us. We don't have the beauty of having the screens, and we can't see the replay, but the referee obviously felt it was close enough to being in the box.
So Birmingham City 0, Fulham 1 here for now. Let's snip to Brighton. Brighton taking on Crawley tonight, which is something of a local derby, but they don't meet each other very often. Here's Henry Moran.
Just once in competitive football, and that was in 1992. But it's Crawley from League One who were making more of the aggression in this game. A couple of good chances in the last couple of minutes. Josh Flint stinging the palms of Verbruggen in the Brighton goal. Their fans in good voice. It remains Brighton 0, Crawley 0.
Thanks very much, Henry, here at St Andrews. Birmingham City looking to recover after a disappointing start here, conceding that early penalty. Blackburn have taken the lead against Blackpool tonight. Blackburn Rovers 1, Blackpool 0. There's been an early penalty there. As we check in Barrow against Derby tonight, here is Rob Law.
Barrow 0, Derby 0, 27 minutes in. A bright move from Barrow moments ago. Coyote stretching his legs down the left-hand side, delivering a cross into the area, which eventually arrived at Sam Foley. His shot well wide and high. Barrow 0, Derby 0.
And we go to the King Power Stadium to check in on Leicester against Tranmere tonight. Here's Lee Blakeman.
Leicester 0, Tranmere 0. Conor, Leicester struggling to break down a very stubborn Tranmere team. Jordan Ayew's just had a shot from distance, well saved by Joe Murphy. Fassis put one over from 20 yards as well, but they're holding their own, Tranmere, at the moment. Leicester 0, Tranmere 0.
That game, which is a replay of the League Cup final in 2000. Back to Harrogate against Preston. Charlie Slater.
Still Harrogate 0, Preston 1, 26 minutes on the clock, but the home side coming into this having their best spell of the game so far. More of an aerial bombardment than anything with too much finesse, but the Preston defence struggling with that a little bit. It's still Harrogate 0, Preston 1.
And to Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace, who took the early lead against Norwich. Here's Flo Pollock.
Still 1-0. Norwich should be level. They had a great chance that was missed by Gabriel Forsyth, firing wide from close range. Palace have also had a player, one of their new signings, Chadi Riyad, taken off with an injury, so that's a blow for them, but it's Palace 1, Norwich 0.
Birmingham attacking into the penalty area. Alfie May has managed to win a corner for a home team. We'll continue our round the ground updates after this set piece. If you're just joining our coverage here on 5 Live, a penalty from the Mexican Raúl Jiménez has given Fulham the lead here. Birmingham City 0, Fulham 1. We are in the 13th minute. And Alex Cochran has come across. He's played in every game so far this new season since joining Birmingham. Fairhead left back. He's come over to the right wing. This will be an in-swinging corner. Short run-up, but a booming delivery into the centre. And the header of the far post was a free one. But ultimately, Clara can just send it through to the Fulham goalkeeper, Stephen Bender. There was an optical illusion about that from Cochran. A two-step run-up, and I've never seen a corner go so high.
Yeah, but it was well worked as he found himself in acres of space, Clara, at the back post. So there was a nice little bit of blocking in the area that the referee didn't spot to free up Clara, but it was always a difficult header to get anything really powerful in a goal.
Grimsby against Sheffield Wednesday. The latest from Naz Premji.
Grimsby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Wednesday have improved since going behind. Callum Patterson got his shot all wrong after Marvin Johnson's cross, and they've forced a couple of corners as well. Grimsby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0.
Fleetwood Town have taken the lead against Rotherham. Fleetwood 2, Rotherham 1. But here's a chance for Stansfield for Fulham into the penalty area, and he scores to make it 2-0. Cutting back on his right boot. It's a classy finish from Jay Stansfield, who Birmingham fans know all about. He was their top scorer here last season on loan at St Andrews. He was Birmingham's Player of the Year last season, and nobody here is surprised to see him finish that. But Fulham have been ruthless here as they double their lead inside quarter of an hour.
Oh, what a ball from Anderson. It's a 40-50 yard diagonal ball onto the runner Stansfield, but he times it perfectly. That out to in run from the left hand side gets in between fullback and centre back. They don't read the flight of it. The ball is delightful, but the finish is equally as good. Just manages to bring it inside, open the goal up and find that far right hand corner. Brilliant start from Fulham.
Well, Gary Rowett, the quality of that finish will be no surprise to you, no surprise to the Birmingham City fans, but it's a cruel start to the game for your old team.
Yeah, he's a ruthless finisher, Jay Stansfield. You saw that last season. That's why he made him so popular with the Birmingham City fans. And when he gets in those positions, I think it's poor play from Clara. You know, that distance between him and Laird, because he's an attacking fullback, just opened up. He needed to drop a little bit quicker, but Stansfield, when he gets in those positions, he delayed slightly, didn't he, to make the keeper move, and then just finished it off like he does.
He was relaxed, he was composed, he didn't rush it, he took it really well. That is what you call Premier League quality from Jay Stansfield, who's making his first appearance for the first team at Fulham in 2 years now. A goal at the Amex. Here's Henry Moran.
Premier League quality here as well. Moments after Crawley could have taken the lead through Josh Flint's header. It's Simon Adingra breaking forward for Brighton, slotting the ball under goalkeeper Jojo Wallicott to give Brighton the lead. Brighton 1, Crawley 0.
Thanks very much, Henry. Everton, as we know, have had a poor start to the Premier League, losing 3-0 in their first game, losing 4-0 in their second game. They're hosting Doncaster this evening at Goodison. Here's Tom Gale.
0-0, half an hour gone, Connor. Jordan Pickford with the first save of the night. Training ground corner from Doncaster, ends up with James Senior free, edge of the box, right side, tried the curler, palmed away. Everton 0, Doncaster 0.
Here in St Andrews, Birmingham City 0, Fulham 2. League One Birmingham trailing by 2 goals against their Premier League opponent. Sander Berge with a lovely touch there in the midfield, and he almost released a through ball to Harry Wilson, just about cut out ahead of the Welshman as Birmingham regained possession inside the centre circle, and Baek Sung-hyo, the Korean, passes out to the left hand side. Quickly Fulham move to bring players back behind the ball. The Swede Emil Hansen brings it forward. Cochran in support of him. Back into the middle of the midfield and to Mark Leonard, who has joined from Brighton for £500,000. He was on loan at Northampton last season, had a very good campaign for them. He was named their Player of the Year. As a shot from the halfway line is off target as Fulham go for the third, and they're trying to rattle Birmingham every time they come forward here.
Yeah, great spot from Stansfield. Pinched the ball. It was a poor pass back by Leonard in midfield, and he's pounced on it, but the goalkeeper Allsop is off his line. He's way outside of his penalty box, and Stansfield spots him, tries to go for goal but pulls it wide. But Fulham have started this game extremely well. The press is good. Marco Silva will be delighted with the way his team are moving the ball and causing Birmingham problems.
All sorts of connections for Jay Stansfield tonight. Played with Birmingham last season. His only senior goal for Fulham before tonight came in the League Cup 3 years ago against Birmingham. So these really are his ideal opponents, and he is relishing the opportunity and the confidence just, seeping through his pores there as he decided to try and shoot from just inside the opponent's half. The rain coming down at St Andrews. Fulham leading by 2-0.
Well, you talk about confidence, Connor, and Birmingham started this game confidently, and now they're starting to slowly get the confidence taken out of them because the press is so good. But they also know when midfielders pick the ball up, the pacing behind, the quality of passes that they possess is just too good for Birmingham.
Worth bringing Gary Rowett in on this. Gary, of course, as any coach will want their team to play good football, to be relaxed. This feels a bit of a reality bite, though. You've got to be good enough to do it against Premier League players.
Well, I think that's the key, isn't it? Premier League players can certainly hurt you.
Laird crosses from the right-hand side. Fresh air shot from Emil Hansen. Best chance of the game so far for Birmingham. It came fizzing across. You mentioned the rain, the wet surface of the pitch, and he swung his right boot and a fresh air shot, but that could have been a goal back into the game for Birmingham. They trail by 2-0 here. Back to Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace against Norwich. Flo Pollock.
Still Crystal Palace 1, Norwich 0, and now Norwich have had a player forced off through injury. Amankwa forced and slipped, injured his shoulder badly, had to go off through injury. Palace 1, Norwich 0.
Thanks very much, Flo. Worth go back to Gary on that. Gary, he was making the point about, trying to play against the Premier League opposition.
Yeah, and I think it's not just any Premier League opposition. It's an opposition that like to transition really well from a defensive, solid position, under Marco Silva. So it's probably a difficult game for Birmingham. You get away with some of these movements in League One. They have to try and be true to themselves the way they play. But you're up against the top draw side, and they are going to pinch the ball with the space. Premier League players are going to love it.
It's that feeling as well from a manager, isn't it? Is that won't happen in League One, but it's still trying to make the team believe it.
Cuenca here, a little uncertain on the edge of his own penalty area. We'd been impressed with the Fulham players making their debuts tonight. Cuenca, the Spanish central defender, don't know if his feet gave away underneath there, but he just tried to slide it out of the penalty area, clear away, and he lost possession of the ball, and then as he tried to stretch, he's committed the foul. So rather needlessly here, he's put his team under a defensive pressure. The Fulham fans who've travelled to Birmingham tonight are housed behind the goal that their team defend in this first half. 20 minutes played at St Andrews. Birmingham 0, Fulham 2. Emil Hansen's just had a really good chance to pull one back a moment ago. Let's see if Birmingham can create something here. Mark Leonard standing over it, goalkeeper up on his toes. This is only about 7 yards from the byline, so there's no real corridor of uncertainty to play this into. This is almost like a corner as it comes in with pace and lands on top of the roof of the net. It was dipping, and the goalkeeper Bender stretched out his glove and did get a touch to it, so that is going to be a corner to Birmingham on the right hand side.
Yeah, he had to deal with it, the goalkeeper, because it was whipped into the far corner of the goal, and it probably would have found that top corner from Mark Leonard, but then the goalkeeper does extremely well, pushes it onto the top of the net. There's another corner from Birmingham.
This time Cochrane plays it short, and he receives it from Alfie May and then gives it to the edge of the area to Anderson. Right-footed ball. Bender comes in, stretching, gets both fists to it on a punch. Then he was out of his goal mouth as Cochrane tried to follow it up with a shot from the edge of the area, trying to catch the goalkeeper out of position, but that was charged down by a defender, and ultimately Sander Berger comes across and puts it out for a Birmingham throw, which they take quickly, and Chris Davis's team are trying to inject a bit of pace in this as they chase the 2-goal deficit.
Yeah, they don't want Fulham to get in a shape, do they? They're trying to continue that pressure. Very difficult conditions that they're playing in. It's very wet, horrible. Keep on putting balls on top of the goalkeeper if you can.
Cochrane's cross from the left hand side, headed away by Jorge Cuenca. That was more assured from the Spanish defender. Let's go back to the Harrogate against Preston game and join Charlie Slater,
where Preston have a penalty. Osmajic fouled. It was a really tight one, but Sam Greenwood stands over the ball trying to get his and Preston's second of the night, and he does. Finds the bottom corner. Harrogate 0, Preston 2.
Thanks very much, Charlie. Birmingham have won themselves a corner here down the right hand side. They haven't let their heads drop. They're trying to remain as positive as they can here, but early goals from Raul Jimenez from the penalty spot and from Jay Stansfield against the team he was on loan at last season have Marco Silva's team comfortably in front here. Fulham, who reached the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup last season. Here comes Cochrane's delivery from the left-hand side to the high booming one towards the back stick. He was looking for Clara again, and it's rather shoveled out by Fulham for another corner on the far side. Those corner kicks from Cochrane are interesting.
Yeah, they are, and Jimenez does extremely well at the back post. They're a big team, Fulham, so they're going to have to try and block and make sure that they create something for the big centre-backs who are coming upfield. They have got a 2v1 if they want it now.
Mark Leonard takes this one low to the edge of the penalty area. Seung Ho tries his shot, but it was too gung-ho from Seung Ho. It's got over the crossbar. It was always rising. And that is a goal kick to Fulham. We are midway through the first half here on 5 Live. Just a reminder, we've got more live football coming up tomorrow night. Nottingham Forest against Newcastle, the pick of our League Cup second round games tomorrow. We'll be round the grounds following the stories wherever they occur. On Saturday, Leicester against Aston Villa, our commentary at 3 o'clock. And I'll be at West Ham against Manchester City for the 5:30 game on Saturday. And you can listen to 3 games across BBC Radio Sport on Sunday. Newcastle, Tottenham, Chelsea against Palace, and then the big one at Old Trafford. The late Sunday kickoff is Manchester United against Liverpool, a game you can listen to live here on 5 Live. Kishi Anderson is fouled on the halfway line by Ryan Sessegnon, and that is a free kick to Birmingham. It's been quite a busy game. We haven't had much chance to ponder the small details, but Stephen, what have you made of the the Fulham debutants tonight? Because I know the Fulham fans listening, it'll be interested. For example, Ryan Sessegnon, what have you made of him? In fact, we'll come to that in just a moment. There's a goal of the King Power. Leicester against Tranmere. Lee Blakeman.
Leicester have got it. It's been coming. Leicester 1, Tranmere 0. Jordan Ayew cutting in from the left on his right foot, about 22 yards out, curled it around Joe Murphy into the far corner. Brilliant goal. Leicester 1, Tranmere 0.
And to New York, the US Open tennis, Russell Fuller.
All happening. Dan Evans has levelled a match with Karen Khachanov by winning a second set tiebreak 7-2. Stefanos Tsitsipas is out. Naomi Osaka has beaten her fellow Grand Slam champion Yelena Ostapenko, and Yannick Sinner has lost the first set 6-2 to Mackenzie McDonald.
And action at Harrogate, a goal for Charlie Slater.
It's another one for Preston, and this one's an absolute rocket from Militant Osmajic, 18 yards out. He just sticks his right boot through it and boots it like a mule into the roof of the net. Harrogate 0, Preston 3.
Thanks very much. Kishi Anderson, who scored a wonderful goal of the weekend. He kicked that a bit like a mule, the Birmingham City player. Birmingham trailing by 2-0 here, as Sung Ho does well to hold his balance, keep control of the ball away from Tom Kearney in the centre circle, and plays a classy ball to the right hand side to Ethan Laird. Good composure from the Korean there, who gets it back again 10 yards outside the penalty area, lofts one into the middle. It's cleared away off the line. Timothy Castagna clears it away. The follow-up from Emil Hansen. How did Kishi Anderson not score there? He needed such a delicate touch, but he provided it. The angle was tight. He flicked it beyond the goalkeeper. It's bouncing over the goal line, and miraculously the Belgian Tim Castagna gets back to hoof it off the goal line.
Two moments of brilliance. The ball from Sung Ho, it's absolutely immaculate into the head of Kishi Anderson, but the clearance from Castagna never switches off, always believes he can get there. Magnificent defending.
A couple of big chances in recent moments there for Birmingham, with a fresh air shot from Emil Hansen, with that header from Anderson. So Birmingham are not giving up here despite being 2 goals down against their opponents tonight. Let's check in. Barrow against Derby. Rob Law.
Big chance here as well, Connor. Barrow 0, Derby 0, 40 minutes in. League 2 side Barrow going close. Elliot Newby striding forward, found Garner on the edge of the area, teed the ball up for himself, turning as he did so to volley goalwards, only to be denied by the big right glove of the Derby keeper Zetterstrom. Barrow growing in confidence. Barrow 0, Derby 0.
Birmingham City 0, Fulham 2 here at St Andrews. Grimsby against Sheffield Wednesday next. Naz Premji.
Yeah, the shock on here. Grimsby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. They could have gone further ahead. George McEachran's shot saved low down by Charles, and Charles Vernon with a header which cannoned off the crossbar. Grimsby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0.
Thanks very much. Let's bring in Gary Rowan here. Gary, what a chance there. Kishi Anderson, he did everything right. On another day, that would have been 2-1.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think there was anything else he could have done differently. It was a wonderful ball from Paik. He just left the ball in an area for Keshi to run onto, and as he got a little flick, it looked like it was bound for the net, wasn't it? It was a great defending in the end, and like you say, sometimes as an attacker you can only get it on target, and the rest you have to hope you get a little bit of fortune.
Fulham have it here on the edge of their own penalty area. Joachim Andersen recently rejoined from Crystal Palace. Castagna, who's making his first appearance of the new season, gives it up to the halfway line to Wilson. Then Harrison Reed goes in a charging run, and that needed a well-done challenge, and the Polish international Christian Bielik was able to provide it. Warm applause from Birmingham fans for that tackle there. Stephen, earlier on I was going to ask you about Ryan Sessegnon, who of course we know had a horrible luck with injuries at Tottenham, hoping for a fresh start back in Fulham colours. What have you made of the opening half hour we've seen of him here?
He's found it tough. He's composed in the way he's kept his position, because Kishi Anderson and Laird, the right back, have caused a lot of problems by getting a 2v1 situation, but it's not been down to his fault. It's been down to the way Fulham are set up. They've got a 2v1 against him. He's found it tough, but he looks fit and he looks like he's got that energy to get up and down the pitch. The player who's been most impressive is Sander Berge. Yeah. He just brings so much control to that middle of midfield.
Yeah, big presence, isn't he? Really tall player, Sander Berge, the £25 million signing from Burnley, former Sheffield United player, and I think that could be a shrewd acquisition by Marco Silva. Both of Sander Berge's parents were professional basketball players, and it's absolutely no surprise when you look at him. He's a giant in there, the number 16 on his back for Fulham. Corner to Birmingham, who since going 2-0 down have had the most territory, They've been in around the Fulham penalty area quite a bit. They've had 2 big chances. Let's see what Mark Lennon could provide here. Again, it's a high, swirling corner kick. There's a third of those, which means it's definitely a tactic. But this one was overstruck, and I think there was some pushing and shoving in the penalty area anyway. And the referee has given a free kick to Fulham.
Yeah, foul on Harrison Reed. They just get hold of him, drag him to the floor, and the referee spots it, which is a really good spot. But it's definitely something they've been looking at, Connor, that ball to the back post and trying to get the big centre half up Clara to go and win them headers.
Second goal for Stoke City. They're into the second half away at Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough 0, Stoke City 2. As Fulham come on the attack down the left hand side. This is Ryan Sessegnon. Birmingham working hard to get numbers back. Raul Jimenez, whose penalty kick after 10 minutes broke the deadlock very early in this game, a very early deadlock, as his right-footed ball into the penalty area intended for Harry Wilson spins away from its target and becomes a comfortable gather for Ryan Alsop, summer signing from Hull. He's yet to feature in League One. Bailey Peacock Farrell, who's come in, has played in all 3 league games. Peacock Farrell's on the bench tonight, having been on loan in Danish football last season, the Northern Ireland International. Laird here tries a nutmeg on Sessegnon, who's having none of that. Scampers back, wins possession, tries to dribble out, and is fouled by Laird, and that's going to be a free kick to Fulham, despite Mark Leonard's attempts to take it himself, which was a bit cheeky.
Lovely switch of play, and it was Laird who got forward again. Pesci Anderson dropping inside to create that space for Laird down the right hand side, but well defended in a 1v1 by Sessegnon.
Big game tonight at Goodison Park. Under pressure, Everton against Doncaster. Here's the latest from Tom Gale.
Where we're into first half stoppage time, Connor. Everton 0, Doncaster 0. Dwight McNeil swings in the corner and it's volleyed off the line. It was Garner, it was. He saw his effort deflected behind. It is Everton 0, Doncaster 0.
Doncaster, who came through with the win against Salford in the first round. Here come Birmingham on the attack down the left-hand side, and it's played in by Cochrane. Good delivery, but off his line. Stephen Bender, the Fulham goalkeeper, gathers it to his chest. Another goal in quick succession for Stoke City. Lewis Kumas has made it 3-0 now, away at Middlesbrough. As it reaches half-time in the games at Queen's Park Rangers and Luton, which is 1-1, and it is also half-time at Barrow, 0-0 against Derby. We'll get the later details on that from Rob Law in due course. But for the moment, here at St Andrews, 2-0 to Fulham of the Premier League against League One Birmingham. There is a goal to report from Harrogate. Charlie Slater.
Another one for Preston. We're in first half stoppage time. It's Harrogate 0, Preston 4. Milutin Osmaic this time with a tap-in at the back post. Remember, Harrogate got smashed 8-0 by Blackburn at the same stage last season. It's 4-0 to Preston, and we're not even at half-time.
And it is half-time at Grimsby and Sheffield Wednesday now.
The cup set on. Grimsby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Cameron McJannett's glancing header separating the two sides. They've had chances to go further clear of the League 2 side. Grimsby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0.
Half-time whistle has gone at Goodison Park. Tom Gale.
Everton 0, Doncaster 0. A save apiece for Pickford and Lawler, and from Senior and McNeil respectively. Garner's had one cleared off the line. Premier League, you're having a laugh. That's the chant from the away end. Half-time, Everton 0, Doncaster 0.
That's exactly what Doncaster would have wanted, to keep that tight to half-time and let the pressure build on Everton.
Yeah, I was at Doncaster last season when Everton went there in the same round and early on in the competition, and away from home they found it really difficult to break Doncaster down, and Everton fans were absolutely furious at the way that Everton played. It might have been the season before actually, because Frank Lampard was in charge, and they really struggled in the game. So it could be the same situation tonight, where they find it very difficult to break them down.
Yeah, Everton who've grown used to difficulty, haven't they, over recent seasons? Much strife there. We'll be back with Tom Gale at Goodison Park for the second half, but 0-0 for the moment against Doncaster. Here at St Andrews, Tom Kearney for Fulham floats a lovely delicate ball out to the right wing, which is controlled on the instep by Harry Wilson. He veers in field, sent it to the left wing, space for Ryan Sessegnon here, chests it down, then rolls it for Harrison Reed, infield again to the tall Sander Berger. 11 men all back behind the ball for Birmingham here, trailing 2-0 at St Andrews. Fulham happy to just hold on to possession here, to control it, to play it around. Joachim Andersen rolls it over to the right hand side to Castagna, and we'll go for that half-time update. Barrow Derby with Rob Law.
And it was very 0-0 until the final 5 minutes. League 2, Barrow going close with a beautiful volley from Jed Garner. Good save down low from Zetterstrom in the Derby goal. But just as Barrow were building some momentum, Derby break down the other end of the pitch, an inviting cross into the box, and Tom Barkhausen meets it with his head. But Paul Farman, the Barrow keeper, makes not one but two point-blank saves to claw it off the line. Barrow 0, Derby 0 at the break.
Thanks very much. What a wonderful start to the new season Brighton and Hove Albion have had for their new young manager. Half-time, Brighton against Crawley. Here's Henry Moran.
Brighton 1, Crawley 0. Simon Adingra's second of the season, the difference. He broke free, finished low under the goalkeeper after half an hour. Crawley have been more than competitive. Josh Flint with good opportunities squandered. The one big frustration for Brighton, the early injury to new signing from Celtic, Matt O'Reilly. Half-time, Brighton 1, Crawley 0.
And it's half-time at Harrogate, and it's been one-way traffic there, hasn't it, Charlie?
Yeah, just a bit. Harrogate 0, Preston 4, game over already. 2 goals from Leeds loanee Sam Greenwood. First a 25-yard free kick that found the top corner. Second a penalty, then 2 from Militant Osmajic. Beaten 8-0 in the second round last season. Can't happen again, can it? Harrogate 0, Preston 4.
Quarter to Birmingham. We'll continue our half-time reports after this because Cochrane's deliveries have been interesting to say the least. He's sent in these booming high deliveries looking for the height of Christoph Klermer, Christian Bielik. Let's see what he does here. He rolls it short, gets it back again. Now the left foot towards the back post, spinning towards the target. Bender comes out though, and he's able to make the save. And we go for a half-time report. Leicester Tranmere with Lee Blakeman.
Leicester 1, Tranmere 0. A deserved lead given to the home team by Jordan Ayew. Great right foot curler into the far top corner from 22 yards out. Great finish. The goal had been coming, and Didi, Skip and Fass had all gone close just before that. Half-time, deservedly so. Leicester 1, Tranmere 0.
Yeah, half-time at all those 7:45 kickoffs. This game at St Andrews was an 8 o'clock start, so we've still got 10 minutes plus to go until the break. Same story at Selhurst. Crystal Palace against Norwich. Flo Pollock.
Crystal Palace 1, Norwich 0. Palace very much on top. Eze just hit the side netting after a nice cutback from Mitchell. Still Palace 1, Norwich 0.
I was at Selhurst Park on Saturday. Thought Crystal Palace were a little bit unfortunate. They created chances, they weren't able to take them. Then West Ham got 2 in quick succession. Here come Birmingham on the attack at St Andrews. Ethan Laird into the penalty area, tried to pull it back but can't find a teammate. And Fulham trying to counter-attack here with Raul Jimenez, who's a little bit isolated down the other end, but he's done well to hold it up and wait for the cavalry to arrive. You know, just listening to the game, that the 4-0 Preston up at half-time, and that's sort of been all over into the next round already. It doesn't really feel that way, although there's 2 goals here. Birmingham aren't giving up. Stephen Warner.
No, they're not, but I'm watching Marco Silva down below us in front. He's getting so frustrated with his team for sloppy play, because that's allowing Birmingham to counter-attack and get back into the game. If Fulham sharpen up in this game, they'll win it comfortably. They've got too much quality for Birmingham.
Sander Berger wins the ball on the edge of the Birmingham penalty area. Stansfield dips it into the box. Cochrane's back out of his weak, and it goes just wide of the post and out for a corner. Well, that's good defending. It was Christian Bielik, the newly named club captain, with Fulham on the verge. Stansfield was in. He was ready to pounce. Was it Castagna? Castagna, who was in around the 6-yard box. And the Polish defender prodding it out for a corner. I think 3-0 Fulham, it would have been all over.
Yeah, lovely little flighted ball in, and he didn't know where the defender was, where the attacking player was, and Bielik made the right decision by just putting it round for a corner. We thought it had gone in the bottom corner. It was a real worry for Birmingham.
Middlesbrough have down tools at the Riverside. Middlesbrough 0, Stoke City 4 now in that 7:15 kickoff tonight, so there won't be long left in that. Fulham wait to take this corner kick. Right hand side as they come forward. Harrison Reed has gone across to place the ball. Mentioned the height of Berger. Joachim Andersen, who's a big target to aim for as well. Jimenez, who's so good in the air. Here it comes. Jimenez! Almost a right-footed volley, but as he tried to swing his boot at it, the referee blew the whistle anyway. There was a foul on Alex Cochrane, and that is going to be a free kick to Birmingham. They tried to take it quickly, too quickly for the referee's liking, and that is going to go back for a free kick to Birmingham inside their own penalty area. Half-time now at Ewood Park. Blackburn Rovers still 1-0 up against Blackpool. Let's bring in Gary Rowett here. Nervous moment of the back for your old team there, Gary?
Yes, and I think what they've tried to do is, you know, Fulham have clearly seen that they're probably not going to score directly from a corner, so they've just tried to work that short one like they did for the penalty. And I've just looked down, and Ashley Cole usually does the set pieces for Birmingham, and he's just starting to get the players to step out another 10 yards, so those spaces are not there. But it shows you face different challenges against Premier League sides, and they'll just find the spaces whenever they can.
That's good pressure. Park Chung-yo lunging in on Sanderberg on the edge of his own penalty area. He received a short pass to the goalkeeper. He was able to get a touch of the ball, but couldn't get control, and it ends up back in the arms of the Fulham goalkeeper, Stephen Bender, the German, on his senior debut for the club. Still Birmingham City 0, Fulham 2, with 7 or 8 minutes to go to half-time.
Well, that was the sloppy play by Fulham, allowing Birmingham to go and press or trying to pinch the ball. Fulham got away with it, but you just feel like they step their levels up. Birmingham will find it very difficult, as Gary says, to get near them, because they do have that quality, they have that experience.
Half-time at Fleetwood, they lead Rotherham by 2-1. And these sides last met 3 seasons ago when they were both in the Championship. They also met in this competition that campaign. Fulham won all 3 games, home and away in the second tier. They won the match here at St Andrews in the League Cup. And thanks to the penalty from Raul Jimenez early on, and the smart finish by Jay Stansfield, it is Birmingham City 0, Fulham 2 here tonight. But here comes Cochrane up to the halfway line. The former Hearts player had a good cup run with Hearts 2 years ago. They reached the final of the Scottish Cup. They were beaten by Rangers. It's a crossfield ball from Williamson, is very accurate. He's picked out Ethan Laird here. Laird comes in field of Ryan Sessegnon, but you can hear the groans as his pass wasn't accurate enough. Should have found Alfie May there. And that's something of a let-off for Fulham as they can comfortably clear away.
Yeah, to get that 2v1 again, it's a little bit too easy for Birmingham to be able to pick the head up and hit that diagonal ball. I'm sure that's something that Ryan Sessegnon will be saying to his teammates in midfield. It's 4 or 5 times now you've hit that allowed Birmingham to hit that diagonal ball, and it's too easy for them to get out.
Throw in for Ryan Sessegnon, who turned 24 in May. I mean, he feels like he's been around forever. He's only 24. It was, I think, 2016 when he made his debut for Fulham. He was a very young teenager, but boy did he sparkle in his early days, and Marco Silva will be hoping to reignite some of that magic. He was very much a left winger, wasn't he, when he first broke through, but he's developed into more of a left back in recent years, trying to step up here along with the rest of the Fulham back four as the ball is down the other end with Ryan Alsop all in green. Well,
he found it difficult at Fulham even coming into this squad, because he's got arguably one of the best left backs in the Premier League, and Anthony Robinson in front of him. I'm a huge fan of his, and he's been Fulham's standout player for the last couple of years, so he's got a job on his hands, but he will get game time, because obviously Anthony Robinson will go away with the USA. He'll travel long distances in the international break, so at times he will need a break.
I won't certainly demur from you on opinions about left back, Stephen. I think Anthony Robinson's a fantastic player, the United States international. There's warm applause at St Andrews as they work their way from a tight corner on the left wing into space for Christophe Clara here. Down the right, he comes up to the edge of the Fulham penalty area. Laird plays it back in field again to Mark Leonard. That's a good touch on the edge of the area by Anderson, who's taken down, and it was brilliant because the Fulham defenders had to take him down. Cuenca would have allowed Anderson into the penalty area otherwise. It is a free kick right on the edge of the box. Now this is a chance for Birmingham to give the home fans something to cheer here with 3 or 4 minutes to go to half time.
Well, he's completely bought that one, Kishi Anderson, because he knows he has 100%. He lost control of the ball and it went away, and Cuenca, as you say, he didn't dive in, he just held his ground, and Anderson dropped to the deck and the referee got sold on it. It might have just been the angle that he had of it, but this is a great opportunity for Birmingham right on the edge of the 18-yard box.
Yeah, Williamson is a left-footed player. You'd imagine this angle would suit him, but Mark Leonard has taken a lot of the set pieces tonight, and he comes across to have a say in it too. Fulham have erected a 5-man wall as they try to block as much of that target as they can. We sometimes say with a free kick right on the edge of the penalty area is a little bit too close to get up and back down again, but the angle does look inviting here. Right of centre as Birmingham come forward, trailing 2-0 in this first half to Premier League Fulham. This is the best set-piece opportunity they've had tonight. Williamson goes for power and he hits the crossbar. That was almost perfect. He had the bend, he certainly had the power, he almost had the accuracy. Gary Rowett, that was something special.
Well, you mentioned it, Connor, about the distance, didn't you? And he couldn't get it up and over easily, so he had to go for power. It was the only way he was going to score, and he looked to have found the only place he probably could have scored. He's very, very unfortunate to hit the crossbar, but great effort.
William Williamson, who scored in the win over Wickham earlier on this month in League One. and very nearly got his second goal for the club. A second goal that, Birmingham probably would deserve on the balance of play in this first half. Fulham, who've been very incisive in taking the two big chances that they've had. They might have had a third goal when Castagne's attempts were thwarted by the defender Bielik. But otherwise, in terms of goal-mouth action, it has been a majority of it for Birmingham down the other end. Maybe, just maybe, they deserve to get something here ahead of half-time and to keep this interesting and with a bit of jeopardy going into the second half as Harrison Reed retreats back to Castagne again. You look at the quality of the players of the Fulham team, though. People who've played in the Champions League, people who've played in World Cups. That's what Birmingham are up against tonight, as Bielik does well to win the ball on the halfway line. Then a lovely bit of footwork by Emil Hansen, and he's on his bike to the edge of the penalty area now, and he's managed to wriggle his way through 2 tackles, sends in a left foot across. Cuenca got the header to it, and it's eventually cleared away by Harry Wilson. Well, that was good from Emil Hansen, impressed with that.
Yeah, lovely footwork, and he sort of ran himself down a blind alley at one point, and then he decided to drop a little shoulder, found it down the left-hand side, and then it was just that final ball, the final moment of quality. That's the difference between League One, Championship and Premier League. When the players get in that final third, they compose themselves.
There's a pass, Bielik over the top to find Laird at the byline. That was weighted perfectly. Back to Anderson, who's been closely marshalled by Sanderberger, and out it goes for a corner to Birmingham. They're plugging away. Sanderberger kept up with Anderson. He probably had to track him back 30 yards there, but he didn't give him an inch. Birmingham get the corner.
The ball has to go in first time from Laird. He's on the run. He has to make sure that he stands it up to the back post, but desperately wanting to take a touch to try and compose himself. And again, the decision making, that is the difference.
5th goal of the night for Stoke City. What an evening they're having away at Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough 0, Stoke 5. I was at Elland Road when Middlesbrough beat Leeds in the last round. Who would have seen that coming tonight? Middlesbrough 0, Stoke 5. It isn't over yet, as Cochrane takes the corner here from the right hand side. 1 minute of stoppage time being added on for the additionals. Alfie May, who's not got into a goal scoring position tonight, has it outside the penalty area on the left. He's been the regular goal scorer for Birmingham so far this campaign. They've got to try and create some chances for him, as it's lofted in by Paik Sung-hyo. Cochrane will try and keep it in play down by the byline. Oh, he's done well, but he can't hold on to it. Kearney in a left full-back position for Fulham, clears up towards the halfway line. Anderson takes it down on his chest. Wilson is in to try and nip it back. Anderson catches him. Free kick to Fulham, and Anderson is remonstrating with the referee, but Keith Stroud insisted that he did catch the opponent there.
He's superb at that, Harry Wilson, just anticipating where the ball might drop to, on it like a flash, draws the foul. Chris Davis isn't happy down in front of us. He's talking to the referee, saying that he won the ball, but he took the man first and then he took the ball. It was the right decision by the referee.
Birmingham relegated from the Championship last season, playing third-tier football for the first time in 29 years. They had spent 13 consecutive campaigns in the Championship. They had flirted with relegation many times in those recent years, and here tonight, after a strong start in League One, they are finding it tough going against Premier League opposition. The half-time whistle blows here. Birmingham City 0, Fulham 2. An early penalty for Raul Jimenez after a handball by Alex Cochrane on the edge of the penalty area, trying to charge down a shot. And then it wasn't long after that Jay Stansfield, who was on loan here at Birmingham last season, reminded all the Blues fans of how good he is, scoring for Fulham. A 2-goal lead. Birmingham haven't given up. They've kept their heads. However, it is a tall order to try and get back into this one now.
Yeah, it's just been clinical from Fulham. They've took their opportunities. They've been a little bit sloppy at times in possession. Birmingham started the game extremely well, were organised in the shape. Premier League quality found the way through that, but they've had opportunities, Birmingham, and there'll be a little bit of belief going in at half-time that if they get one, that might just change the narrative of this game.
For now, Birmingham City 0, Fulham 2.
And to Stephen. Gary, just to pick up on that point that Stephen was making, just one of those chances, maybe the header, maybe the free kick, if just one of those had gone in, it would feel very different for Birmingham at half-time. But does that give them hope for the second half? That, one more goal and suddenly it opens up for them?
Absolutely, and I think they've actually played really well. It sounds silly to say that in some ways because they're 2-0 down, but the difference has been the clinical nature of Fulham and the quality that Premier League players possess. But I've been impressed with Birmingham. They've moved the ball really well. They've created good chances. They've ended up causing a lot of problems down this right-hand side where I think Jay Stansfield probably doesn't naturally want to keep tracking back Ethan Laird, and they've just missed a goal, and that's been it. So definitely if they can nick something early on in the second half, I think there's a lot more legs in this game yet.
Down but not out at St Andrews. Gary Rowett, Stephen Warnock and Conor McNamara will bring us second half coverage of Birmingham against Fulham. Fulham lead by 2-0. We've got the second half of that one coming up on the way, the second round of the EFL Cup. There's another 8 o'clock kickoff, which is Crystal Palace 1, Norwich City 0. We'll keep you up to date with everything that's happening there. It's not quite half time in that game. They've had some stoppages in that one, so they've not quite been able to get to half time, but we'll bring you that with Flo, and bring you the very latest with Flo Pollock, who's been watching it. Hi Flo.
Hello Kelly. Yep, it's Crystal Palace 1, Norwich 0. As you say, hefty injury time because there's been 2 nasty looking injuries for summer signings from both sides. Forson for Norwich and Riyad for Palace, but that goal from Palace's new Japanese striker Daichi Kamada is the difference so far in this game. Nearly at the end of the first half, and it's Palace 1, Norwich 0.
Yeah, thought I might just be able to get us there, Flo, but for now, thank you very much. Not quite half time in that one, but it will be approaching very shortly. In the meantime, let's take the BBC News headlines with Giuliano Cassidy.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Sir Keir Starmer has warned the budget in October will be painful. The Prime Minister said those with the broadest shoulders should bear the heaviest burden, and he repeated that his government had inherited a black hole in the public finances. The Conservatives deny that claim and say Labour are laying the groundwork for tax increases. West Yorkshire Police says it's charged 2 men with the murder of a mother and her 3 children in a house fire in Bradford last week. Mohammed Shabir, who is 44, and 25-year-old Callum Sunderland will appear in court tomorrow. Israel says it's rescued a 52-year-old man who'd been held hostage by Hamas in Gaza since October last year. Qaid Farhan Al-Khani had been working as a guard at a warehouse when he was abducted. And Oasis fans have started making plans for next year after they announced they're getting back together for a tour. They'll initially play 14 concerts in Cardiff, Manchester, London, Edinburgh and Dublin, starting next July.
England versus Sri Lanka. The second test, live from Lord's.
Short, pulled away for 4. Magnificent stroke. Dismissed.
Bowls is edged and is out. His court beautifully taken.
Hear every ball, every boundary and every wicket with 5 Sports Extra.
Pulls a short one out to the deep square boundary all the way for 6.
And keep up to date with the TMS podcast on BBC Sounds.
England versus Sri Lanka. The second test starts Thursday at 11. Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport
with Kelly Cates.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
On the way this evening, second half commentary of Birmingham against Fulham. Fulham lead by 2-0 in the second round of the EFL Cup. The other 8 o'clock kickoff is Crystal Palace against Norwich. Palace are 1-0 up on that one. They're almost at half time. Let's check in on some of the 7:45 kickoffs. We'll start at the Amex for Brighton against Crawley and Henry Moran.
And a brilliant second goal for Brighton to start this second half. Jeremy Sarmiento finishing a fine move down the left-hand side. One of the great turns you'll see, a nutmeg that released the attack down the left from Enciso. He fed the ball to Sarmiento, blasted into the roof of the net, and we could be done early in the second half. Brighton 2, Crawley 0.
At Goodison Park, it's Everton against Doncaster. Tom Gale.
Everton 0, Doncaster 0. Kelly, Sean Dyche still awaiting his side's first goal of the season. They did come closest in the opening 45. James Garner, his shot was cleared off the line. We played 5 minutes in the second half. It is Everton 0, Doncaster 0.
Half-time whistle has gone at Selhurst Park. It's Crystal Palace 1, Norwich 0. Harrogate taking on Preston. Charlie Slater's watching.
Nearly 4 minutes played in the second half. It's still Harrogate 0, Preston 4. The game's over really, Kelly, but Harrogate have really got to show Simon Weaver, their boss, something now. They've got Barrow at the weekend. They just cannot afford more of the same in the second half. Preston enjoying pretty much all of the possession, and it's still Harrogate 0, Preston 4.
And watching Leicester against Tranmere, Lee Blakeman.
Leicester still leading 1-0 and pushing for a second as things stand. They've gone close to getting one a few moments ago. Mabadidi with a shot blocked from the edge of the area. Skip, making his first Leicester start, has just put in a great cross that was clawed away by Joe Murphy. Leicester bossing possession, in total control, but at 1-0 you never know. Leicester 1, Tranmere 0.
And with news of another goal at Grimsby, Naz Premji.
Grimsby Town 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1. It's EK Ugbo, low drive after a terrific run from substitute Paul Valentin, who came on at the break, and Wednesday a level. Grimsby Town 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1.
And watching Barrow and Derby, Rob Law.
Oh, Kelly, how we'd love a goal. Barrow 0, Derby 0, 5 minutes into the second half, and the second 45 is following the same pattern as the first. Derby with plenty of possession, but without a final product. But Derby boss Paul Warner's seen enough. He's made 4 changes, with Ozo, Washington, Jackson and Mendes Lang all coming on as Derby struggle to break the Barrow resistance. Barrow 0, Derby 0.
Those changes might just bring you the goal you're looking for, Rob. In the EFL elsewhere, Middlesbrough are 5-0 down at home to Stoke, and that one was a 7:15 kickoff, so not long to go in that one. Barnsley 0, Sheffield United 0, Blackburn 1, Blackpool 0, Coventry 0, Oxford 0, Fleetwood 2, Rotherham 1, Millwall 0, Leyton Orient 1, QPR 1, Luton 1, Shrewsbury 0, Bolton 0, Walsall 0, Huddersfield 1, Watford 1, Plymouth 0, and there's been a goal at Everton. Tom Gale.
Finally, Everton fans can celebrate. Everton 1, Doncaster 0. It's their summer signing from Aston Villa, Tim Irabunam. It's played out wide to Lindstrom, one of the loanees brought in from Napoli. He pulls it back to the edge of the box, side-footed strike into the opposite bottom corner in front of the Gladys Street. Everton finally breathe a huge sigh of relief. We played 7 minutes in the second half. Everton 1, Doncaster 0.
And there's been a goal at Leicester. Lee Blakeman.
I said Leicester were pushing for a second. They've got it. It's come from the penalty spot. It's been put in by Mavadini. Jennings bringing down Pereira in the area. No question for referee Lewis Smith. Pointed straight to the spot. Good finish. Mavadini hard and low, curling away from the keeper into the bottom corner. Leicester deserved that. Leicester 2, Tranmere 0.
And another goal at Grimsby for Naz Premji.
Game turned on its head. Grimsby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 2. It's the second substitute. Jamal Lowe, fed by EK Ugbo, and Lowe lifted the ball over the Grimsby goalkeeper. It's Grimsby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 2.
And Bolton have gone 1-0 up against Shrewsbury in the EFL Cup second round. We'll keep you across everything that's happening this evening. And the tennis commentary continues on Sports Extra. It's day 2 of the US Open. We're going to head to New York now and talk to our tennis correspondent, Russell Fuller. And Russell, 4 Brits in action today. And so far, so good.
Absolutely, and definitely for Katie Bolter and Jack Draper, who are both winners already. Bolter lost the first set 7-5 to the qualifier Alexandra Sasnovich, dropped just 3 games after that. Jack Draper was only on court for 66 minutes, although it became apparent fairly early in the second set that his opponent Zhang Jizhen had a leg problem. He retired when 4-love down in the third set. Dan Evans is 1 set all at the moment with the seeded Karen Hachanov. He was a break up in the third. They're back on serve now with Evans serving at 3-4. And to come, possibly in the early hours of the morning, ultimately, will be Emma Raducanu's match against a fellow Grand Slam champion in Sophia Kenin.
And the men's top seed in action, Ross. What's going on with Yannick Sinner?
Well, very good question. There's been a lot on his mind, has there not, in the last week or so? And he lost the first set to Mackenzie McDonald by 6 games to 2. McDonald is ranked outside the world's top 140, but in the second set, just a sign that Sinner is steadying the ship. He leads with the break by 4 games to 2. The other main story from the men's draw so far today, it's a big roar from Dan Evans as he draws level at 4 games all in the third set, is that Stefanos Tsitsipas, who has a miserable record at the US Open, has been beaten in 4 sets by Thanasi Kokkinakis.
The top seed in the women's draw, though, is through.
Iga Swiatek. Yes, it was quite close given that her opponent Kamila Rakimova is outside the top 100 in the world, but she still won in straight sets, 6-4, 7-6. Former champions Caroline Wozniacki and Naomi Osaka have gone through, and Osaka's win, the 2-time champion, particularly significant because she beat Yelena Ostapenko 6-3, 6-2, and we remember that she's had time away from the tour for her mental health and also to have a baby, but that's actually her first win over a top 10 player since January 2020.
Russell, thank you very much for that. So Russell Fuller will keep us up to date with everything, and you can follow it on Sports Extra as well. Let's check in at Goodison Park. It's Everton against Doncaster Rovers. Tom Gale.
Still Everton 1, Doncaster 0, Kelly. Just an update on the score. It's not a first club goal for Tim Irabunam. It took the slightest of touches off Dwight McNeil. So he's got the goal, Everton's first goal of the season. 10 minutes gone in the second half. Everton 1, Doncaster 0.
Tom, thank you very much. We'll keep you across everything that's happening in the EFL Cup tonight. But our commentary on 5 Live tomorrow comes from the City Ground. It's an all-Premier League tie in the EFL Cup. Nottingham Forest take on Newcastle. And elsewhere tomorrow, League 2 Colchester United are at home to Premier League Brentford. We can look ahead to that one now with Colchester's manager, Danny Cowley. Danny, you must be looking forward to this one.
Good evening, Kelly. Yeah, it's a great opportunity for us as a football club. Obviously, it's not every day as a League Two club you have the opportunity to play a Premier League club, and for us, a wonderful evening in store. I think whenever you play against the top teams, you always get instant feedback from them, and in terms of our development as a team, and also for some of our young players like Samson Tavidi and Bradley Inavine and Milton Oni, they're all boys that are between 18, 19 and 20, just brilliant for their development as well.
You talked about those new players and the young players that are in your squad. How quickly are you being able to integrate so many new players after 11 signings coming in this summer? Well, so far 11 signings.
Yeah, that's right. I think, for Nicky and I, we joined the club in January, and the team had were in a difficult moment. I think they'd lost 11 out of 12. We managed to stay in the division, which was the plan. But of course, when you finish 22nd in League Two, you anticipate quite a lot of change. Probably we didn't expect as much change as we've actually had. We've probably sold some of our younger players, which has been great for the club. I mean, we have a brilliant academy at Colchester, so that's been great. But we've been able to use that money to reinvest, and Robbie Cowley, the owner, has been brilliant in allowing us to do that. And lots of change, which is never easy. And of course, we've had pre-season together, just trying to bring the group together, both on the pitch and off the pitch. And we've had a good start to the season in terms of performance. We were pretty frustrated on Saturday. We ended up losing to Harrogate after having 30 shots. So definitely still some work to do for the team in the final third. But no, we think we've made some good recruitment decisions over the summer, and of course it will take a little bit of time for the group to come together. But these games that we have tomorrow night against Brentford, they're just brilliant in terms of the development of the team, because like I said, you learn so much when you play against the best players and the best teams.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the numbers, and in terms of shots, in terms of creating those chances, that's definitely there. It's just about being able to take them, and obviously that's going to be key against Brentford. But you and Nicky already took Lincoln to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup in 2016-17. How much do you learn from that experience? I mean, because cup competitions are so much down to everything that happens just in the moment. They come down to those tiny differences. So how much can you learn from progress in a competition like that?
Yeah, I think you can always learn from your previous experiences, and Nicky and I have been lucky enough to be able to beat some Premier League teams in our previous clubs. And I always think it's a little bit when you're a lower league club and you get to play against Premier League clubs, it's a little bit like climbing a mountain. When you start off, you're at the bottom and you look up, and the task can almost feel insurmountable. And I think what you have to do is break it down into parts. And for us, we kind of break the game down into 4 22.5-minute blocks, and sort of 4 games within a game, if you like. And I think by doing that and kind of chunking it, it makes it a little bit more achievable for the players. And certainly for us, in terms of the game plan, it will be to try to make it a short game, because I think if you are going to be an underdog beating a top team, then you've got to try to make it a shorter game, because then it just obviously gives you a little bit more chance of getting on the right side of it.
Danny, the other thing is brothers are very much in vogue at the moment, although I think you and Nicky have got a slightly less fractious relationship than Liam and Noel.
This is very true. But I was very, very, very pleased to hear that they've resolved their differences, and they're now coming back together. I think that this would be great for the music industry for sure in this country.
Danny, I know you've got a big game to focus on tomorrow, so thanks so much for joining us. Danny Cowley, ahead of Colchester United's game against Brentford. Thanks so much to him. We're going to head back to St Andrews now for the second half of Birmingham against Fulham. Gary Rowett, Stephen Warnock and Conor McNamara.
Thanks very much, Kelly. Back underway. Birmingham City 0, Fulham 2. No changes in personnel over the break. An early penalty from Raul Jimenez, the Mexican, sent Fulham on their way. Jay Stansfield, who was on loan here at Birmingham last season, was their player of the year. He had a very smart cut back and finish to make it 2. Birmingham had been creating some chances towards the end of the first half, though, and it'll be interesting to see if they can lay down a bit of an agenda here at the start of the second period as Harry Wilson comes crunching in on Alex Cochrane, but Cochrane's strong and he rode that challenge, and Emil Hansen now takes it up, tries to go past Castagna. Castagna, the experienced defender, holds him up, but there's a foul on Cochrane, and that's going to be a free kick to Birmingham. Crossing position on the left, they've taken it quickly, infield to Paik Sung-hyo, and maybe a shooting position here for Clara, but he opts to pass it out to the right hand side to Ethan Laird. There's a good start to the second period for Birmingham. All action. Laird tries to cut in a shot left footed, and it goes wide of the near post. Well, you can almost hear Chris Davis's instructions echoing in the ear there. Go out and get at them at the start of this second half. That's what Birmingham tried to do there. Stephen.
Yeah, really positive start, and Ethan Laird, he was not really wanted to come inside on his left foot, but he was just forced that way by Ryan Sessegnon. Comes inside, it's a really weak shot from him, but it's a positive start from Birmingham.
Coventry City leading Oxford United by 1-0 all over at Middlesbrough. They have lost by 5-0 against Stoke City. That's one of the stories of the night. Throw in here to Fulham, and a chance to give you a reminder of how the teams line up. Ryan Alsop, summer signing from Hull, in goal again, having played in the last round of this competition. Back four for Birmingham: Ethan Laird, former Man United player; Christoph Klerber, summer signing from Germany, alongside Christian Bielik, the club captain, and Alex Cochrane at left back. In the middle of the midfield, Paik Sung-ho, the Korean, and Mark Leonard, the new signing from Brighton. Then Kissy Anderson on the right hand side, William Williamson in the middle, Emil Hansen on the left, and Alfie May, this season's top scorer, leading the line up front, but he's not really been given goal scoring opportunities tonight, and you feel Birmingham have got to try and create something for him here as Sander Berger tries a crossfield ball that goes astray. Laird was able to nip in and intercept. Anderson collects it now midway inside the Fulham half, and he's bearing down on the Fulham penalty area now. The Premier League side bringing everyone apart from Raul Jimenez back behind the ball. Laird in a crossing position, but does he have the room to do so? Gives it low infield to Mark Leonard, back into the centre again, and to Cochrane to the near side now. The left as Birmingham come forward. Emil Hansen, who's got a trick up his sleeve, goes past Castagna but can't beat Joachim Andersen. Andersen slides in, it goes out for a throw, and Birmingham have taken it already. They are trying to step on the gas here and increase the tempo at the start of this second period. As May cuts in off the left wing, he's fouled by Harrison Reid. That's going to be a free kick to Birmingham, and a chance to give you the Fulham team in full. Yellow card shown there to Harrison Reid for the ferocity of that challenge. So Stephen Bender, the goalkeeper, back for Castagna, Anderson, Cuenca and Sessegnon. Cuenca and Sessegnon making their first appearances of the season. Debut second time round for Sessegnon. Debut altogether for Cuenca. Sander Berger making his debut in the midfield alongside Harrison Reid. Then Harry Wilson wide right, Tom Kearney, Jay Stanfield and Raul Jimenez. Stanfield and Jimenez, who are both on the score sheet tonight. Mark Leonard's going to take this free kick wide on the left hand side. Fulham defenders are along the line of the penalty area as it's rolled back to Paik Sung-hyo. He rolls it to his right hand side. Anderson out to Laird. Fulham now just retreat a little bit, step back into the box. Laird up against Raul Jimenez, tries to get past him, does deliver across, but can't pick out a teammate, and Birmingham get a second chance because Anderson has it now. Still out on the right hand side, on his left foot at the moment. Rolls it short to Leonard. That's a clever ball. Williamson's inside the penalty area. Can he get space for a shot? Goes around Stansfield. Shows too much of it to Kearney. And then Kearney's fouled as he tries to come away. And that's a free kick to Fulham. Decent pressure from Birmingham, but no shot at the end of it.
No, and I think that's what every fan in the ground was asking for. Why aren't you getting the shot away? They're trying to play the perfect goal pass into the striker, and then it's almost like the old Arsenal, isn't it, when they used to walk the ball into the goal, and that's what they were trying to achieve there. Sometimes you've got to get your shot away, and even if you don't score, it drops defenders back, and then the next time you come forward you might be able to pick that pass. Oh, he's in trouble here. Oh, he's not seen it.
Wilson challenged on the edge of the penalty area. No VAR tonight. He slid into the box. He's making all kinds of appeals. He was tripped.
Why does he go down?
Ian Cooper on the near side waves his head and says, no, you're right, Stephen, if he keeps going there, he scores, surely.
No, but that's what I'm saying is that for the referee, why would he go down in that situation?
Exactly.
It's because he's been tripped.
Yeah.
It's just stupid from the ref.
So maybe Birmingham got away with one there. Birmingham City 0, Fulham 2. There would have been no reason that Wilson would be trying to fool the officials there. As we go for an update to Goodison Park, back underway in the second half, and Tom Gale.
Everton 1, Doncaster 0, close to 2 though. Iliman Ndiaye doing a 180 turn to spin the fullback, cross comes in 6 yards out. Beto got something on it, not enough, it went well wide. Everton 1, Doncaster 0. We played 66 minutes.
It is Walsall 1, Huddersfield Town 2, and Bolton have doubled their lead away at Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury Town 0, Bolton Wanderers 2, as Harrison Reid gets possession outside the Fulham penalty area. Castagna just ahead of that had been fouled by Paik Sung-hyo, so that's a free kick to Fulham.
I like Paik Sung-hyo. I think there's something about him where he's got the ability. I think sometimes he's just overconfident at times. If he can just clean up his passing and his decision making, then he could play a lot higher, but there's something about him, and we saw that in the first half with that magnificent pass into Anderson where it nearly led to a goal.
Paik Sung-hyo, who's got a wonderful story to tell his grandkids in the future. He has scored a goal against Brazil in a knockout game at the World Cup. I mean, how many people can say that? As Wilson takes a shot from distance and it goes over the crossbar. But in Qatar in 2022, Paik Sung-hyo scored against Brazil in the last 16. They were beaten 4-1, but he'll probably leave that part out.
I'd live off that completely, no problem at all.
Let's go to Barrow against Derby. Rob Law.
Barrow 0, Derby 0, 68 minutes gone. Sometimes when it's a bit of a slog, Connor, you just need somebody with a bit of magic like Nathaniel Mendez-Lang. He almost provided it, fizzed a shot from wide on the right-hand side that stung the palms of the Barrow keeper. He's been lively since he's come on, still waiting for the breakthrough though. Barrow 0, Derby 0.
Thanks, Rob. Worth bringing Gary Rowett in on Paik Sung-hyo. I mean, he is a classy operator. He's got a lovely sort of style about him. He never looks too flustered.
No, he's a superb player. I really enjoyed working with him, and also he's such a lovely character as well, so hard working, but he can do a little bit of everything. I think he just needs to add, because he's actually a really attacking midfielder, and when he gets into those positions he's got good end product. We probably haven't seen that tonight because of Willemsen's starting position, but like Stephen said, he's got that quality, and actually them keeping hold of him in Division 1 could be a very big signing for them.
Yeah, well, we've got Premier League opposition, Fulham beating third tier Birmingham by 2-0 here. We've got Premier League opposition against lower league opposition at the Amex. Let's get the latest from there. Brighton against Crawley, Henry Moran.
Brighton 2, Crawley 0. Brighton well on top, could easily have made it 3 or 4. Crawley have had their moments. Adi Adeyemo running forward, drifting his shot just wide, but Brighton well on top. They lead 2-0.
Thanks very much, Henry. Chance here for Birmingham as Anderson brings it into the penalty area. He's given Sessegnon the slip, but across came Cuenca to charge it down. And again, no shot on the end of it for Birmingham, but there was a menace about that build-up. There was a bit of creativity about it, but again, they can't pull the trigger at the end. Birmingham come again, edge of the area. Reid has got to be careful on the yellow card, gives away another free kick. And that's going to be a free kick 5 or 6 yards outside the box, right-hand side as Birmingham come forward. Stephen Warner.
They just tried to take a quick free kick there, Birmingham, and the referees pulled it back, but again, Fulham trying to play out from the back, a little bit of a mix-up in midfield, and Birmingham capitalised. And I'm thinking, when Anderson takes it, take one touch and hit it, but he wants to carry on into the box, and it just allows Cuenca to come across and ease him out of the way. And it was a very bit of comfortable defending from Cuenca in the end, but it could have been so much more difficult.
Barnsley are leading Sheffield United. Max Waters has scored a goal for them early in the second half. Free kick to Birmingham here, which Alex Cochrane, the 24-year-old left back, has come across to take. Now he's carefully placing the ball. Leonard is there too, but body language is suggesting here that Alex Cochrane's going to put the whip on this. Fulham have brought everyone back to defend it. Birmingham City 0, Fulham 2 on 5 Live in the second round of the Carabao Cup tonight. And it is Cochrane, and it floats in towards the far post, but harmlessly goes wide. Let's go to the King Power Stadium. Leicester against Tranmere, and Lee Blakeman.
Leicester 2, Tranmere 0. Should and could be more, because Winks has just nearly scored straight from a corner, curling in towards the near post, well punched away just in the nick of time by goalkeeper Joe Murphy. Nigel Adkins has just made a triple change to try and get Tranmere back into it midway through the second half. Leicester leading 2-0.
Let's go to Grimsby. Grimsby against Sheffield Wednesday. Naz Premji.
Should be game over now. Grimsby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 3. Lovely cut back from the left-hand side, and Callum Patterson was there to sweep home past the home keeper. Grimsby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 3.
We've had a couple of one-sided games tonight. One of them at the Riverside. Stoke 5-0 against Middlesbrough. One-sided game at Harrogate 2. Charlie Slater.
Way of it, Harrogate 0, Preston North End 4, approaching the 70th minute, and it could have been 5 and it could have been 6, but the woodwork at the Harrogate end has been rocked on a couple of occasions. Harrogate 0, Preston 4.
Thanks very much, Charlie. Here at St Andrews, Birmingham City 0, Fulham 2. Yellow card has been shown to Alfie May, who's had a frustrating evening for Birmingham, the number 9. He scored in all 3 of their League One games so far this season. He's not been given a clean opportunity to score tonight, and a rash challenge by him there has seen him pick up a yellow card. This one of the 8 o'clock games tonight. Referee's just going to hold up play because Raul Jimenez is down and holding his head. You can hear the reaction from the Birmingham fans because they thought their team were about to counter-attack there. While we wait for the Mexican to receive some treatment, let's go for an update from Selhurst Park and Joy Flown Pollock.
Back underway, Crystal Palace 1, Norwich 0. Eberechi Eze is getting in behind Norwich really well, nearly latching onto a through straight ball. Palace on top here, they lead Norwich by a goal to 0.
First time that those two have ever met in the League Cup tonight, Palace and Norwich City. Let's go back to the King Power Stadium, Lee Blakeman, because
it's all over, Connor. Leicester 3, Tranmere 0. Indeed, he played straight into the centre of the penalty area, got the ball out of his feet, slotted it calmly past Joe Murphy to put Leicester into round 3. Leicester 3, Tranmere 0.
Walsall to Huddersfield Town 2, back on level terms with 20 minutes to play there, as both teams have come to the touchline for a drink, for an impromptu team talk here. While Raul Jimenez, I think it is significant and worth mentioning, him in particular with a head injury. We're all aware of the collision he was involved in a few years back in a game against Arsenal and David Luiz, and for a long time he used to wear a very prominent protective headgear, so I'm sure that would have been in the back of the mind referee Keith Stroud when he saw the Mexican down. Of course, concern for any player with a head injury, but I think take extra care when it's this particular individual given these track record.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that was a really good spot from the referee to realise that it was him, but I think it was just a flailing arm that caught him in the face, and as he went down, poor hold-up play by him. He struggled in this game, Raul Jimenez, to really have an effect on it. His link-up play's been poor. He scored his goal, and he'll say that's all that he's paid to do, but he needs to bring a little bit more to the table.
Okay, while we wait for play to get back underway, we're going to go for an update, I believe, to Goodison Park, Everton, Doncaster and Tom Gale.
A second for Sean Dyche, Connor. Everton 2, Doncaster 0, and it's a wonder goal from Iliman Ndiaye. Picks the ball up 5 yards into the Everton half, does a 180 turn. The defenders can't get anywhere near him. He's all the way slaloming through, in off the post. It's a first goal for the club, and this looks as though Everton are through. Everton 2, Doncaster 0, 16 minutes to go.
For a second there, Tom, I thought Sean Dyche should come on himself to score the goals. I mean, I don't think things are that bad at Goodison Park, not yet. You wouldn't put it past him, though. He'd be good in an attacking set piece, wouldn't he? He'd get right in there. With Sean Dyche, who is on target for a good night's sleep tonight, which he mightn't have had too much of in recent weeks, but Everton with a bit of breathing space there at Goodison Park. But I'm glad to report that Raul Jimenez is okay. He's going to be back on the field in just a moment. They've taken extra care over ensuring that he's in decent nick down there. As Fulham have possession, leading by 2-0 here at St Andrews. Tom Kearney rolls it in front of Ryan Sessegnon. Debut second time round for Fulham, for the man who's recently left Tottenham. As Sander Berge has it here in the middle of the midfield and gives a poor pass behind Sessegnon. Cheers to the Birmingham fans as that breaks down. And I think Fulham are quite grateful to have this 2-goal lead for the first half, because they've not been pulling up too many trees in the second period.
Birmingham have been superb in this second period, the way that they've pressed, the organisation from the shape. I've been really impressed with the response from them in this second half, and I know Gary spoke about the performance in the first half, and it's just been that quality in the final third that we perhaps haven't seen from them.
Sessegnon did well to bring it forward there. Kearney back out to Raul Jimenez, who's on the field of play once again. Fulham back to 11 players. It's interesting, Gary Rowd, we know the priority for Birmingham to get back up to the Championship. He's named a strong team tonight. 2-0 down. At what stage does Chris Davis say, right, we've got We've got league games coming up. We've Wigan on Saturday. You know, at what point do you say we've got to keep giving everything to this? We'll come back to that in just a moment. Anderson tries to break into the penalty area, stumbled at an unfortunate moment, and the chance goes a begging.
Yeah, I think you have to think about that as the game goes on. I mean, at this stage of the season, I don't think necessarily resting players is maybe as important as you know, making sure they don't pick up an injury. And I think there will be changes, and I think you are looking for that little bit of extra. The attacking players have done so well, played with so much energy, but you're looking for something different at this point to get you back in the game, aren't you? And you know, I think it's testament to Birmingham that a Premier League side are here, and they're playing just to keep the ball every now and then, just to, you know, they seem to have a bit of a lack of ambition, Fulham, really, at the moment, don't they?
Well, speaking of which, Chris Davis, the new Birmingham City coach, about to make a triple change here. He's going to take off top scorer Alfie May. May's never really been in the game tonight. It's been a frustrating evening for him. He's picked up a yellow card. Tyler Roberts, the Welsh international, the former Leeds player, will come on in place of him. The others who are coming on, Koji Miyoshi, the Japanese player, and in fact, two Japanese players, Ayumu Yokoyama, summer signing from Saigon Tosu, is going to come on as well. So fresh legs into this Birmingham team, still trailing by 2-0. Jesse Anderson is one of those who's making way. Warm applause for him here. And it'll be Emil Hansen, the number 7, the third player to depart, who had a big chance in the first half when a low cross came in from the right hand side, and he had a fresh air shot just outside the 6-yard box. Had that gone in, it might have changed the narrative of this game for Birmingham this evening. But there we go, 3 changes for Birmingham, and Marcus Silva hasn't made any alterations to his side. Mind you, he did make 11 before kick-off. None of these players were in the starting team in the Premier League the weekend, so they'll be happy to get the minutes in their boots tonight. The goals from Raul Jimenez from the penalty spotted from Jay Stansfield, the former Birmingham City player, scoring in his return here to St Andrews this evening. Worth asking you about him actually, Gary. Do you think we're going to see Jay Stansfield feature in the Premier League that much for Fulham this season?
I think it's going to be difficult. I think that, you know, you're going to see a player that probably creates a little bit of impact, but I think he's going to be in and out of the squad. I think he'll take that, because I think any championship team would have took him. Birmingham certainly would have took him back. He needs that next challenge.
Well, they've got Munoz, of course. They've got Raul Jimenez. Jay Stansfield doing what he can in this opportunity he's been presented with here this evening. Goal at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace against Norwich. Flo Pollock.
Palace have a second. Crystal Palace 2, Norwich 0. A nice corner routine floated in, and an acrobatic effort from Jean-Philippe Mateta. Crystal Palace 2, Norwich 0.
Mateta had a busy summer, played for Thierry Henry's France team at the Olympics, scored a few goals for them as they reached the final. Missed an absolute sitter of the weekend against West Ham, but in the goals tonight at Selhurst Park, and you are up to date on 5 Live. Walsall have just got a third goal. They've taken the lead against Huddersfield, leading by 3-2, and it is 1-1 now at Ewood Park. Blackpool have got a late equaliser against Blackburn. Blackburn Rovers 1, Blackpool 1. Here at St Andrews, Birmingham City 0, Fulham 2. By the way, any of the games tonight that do finish level at the end of 90 minutes, there's no extra time. It goes straight to a penalty shootout. Throw in for Birmingham. Ethan Laird to take it on the right hand side, taking his time over at the moment. Birmingham, who've got Wigan here in League One on Saturday. They've got Walsall to come here in the FA Trophy next Tuesday. Here is Cochrane, and he fancies it from a long way out, and it was on target, and Bender had to make the save, and that might well be the best shot that Birmingham have had tonight. He's miles out, Alex Cochrane, but he really caught hold of that.
Yeah, the keeper makes a right mess of it, doesn't he? Never looked comfortable at all getting across to his right hand side. Whether it was the conditions, he didn't fancy catching it. Pushes it round for a corner, but very unconvincing.
Corner to Birmingham, trying to get a route back into this game. Swings in high towards the back post again. Clero was up there trying to head it down, but can't pick out a teammate. Tom Kearney comes dribbling out from his own penalty area. That's great hold up play from him, and then he rolls it in front of Castagna, who's running with those purple and pink boots down the right hand side, and fouled by Paik Sung-ho, and that's going to be a free kick to Fulham. And Harry Wilson's very pent up, and he feels that Paik Sung-ho has committed a few fouls without further punishment in the second half, but the referee Keith Stroud is having none of it.
Yeah, it's a good decision from Keith Stroud. He knew that he was just trying to stop the attack and slow things down. Very fortunate not to pick up a booking, but the right decision.
Well, it's going to be a change for the visitors. Fulham are going to bring on Joshua King. not to be confused with the former Bournemouth and Everton Josh King. This is Joshua King, who is a 17-year-old teenager, and he will come on for his Fulham debut here as we go for news of a goal at Grimsby and Naz Premji.
Grimsby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 4. Short corner routine, lovely cross for Callum Patterson to head home from 5 yards out. His second, Wednesday's fourth. Grimsby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 4.
Thanks very much. Joshua King on in place of Sander Berger here. Berger, who's just had his Fulham debut, having joined from Burnley. Free kick to Fulham, who lead 2-0 here against League One Birmingham. Harrison Reed swings it in from the right-hand side, hanging in the air. There was a collision between two players. Chase Stansfield, I think, with a push, and that gives a free kick to Birmingham, which they tried to take quickly, but the referee says too quickly and sends them back to do it again. So time beginning to run out. 25 minutes for Birmingham to try and get back into this League Cup tie. The goals from Fulham both came early in the first half. They've not been able to add to that tally. And here come Birmingham with Tyler Roberts into the box. Low ball in, and Castagna inside his own 6-yard box. Clears it out for a throw-in. And the Birmingham fans are on the edge of their seats here. They believe a goal is coming.
Yokoyama has to get into the back post. He has to get inside Castagna, because it's great work by Tyler Roberts, and he can only do one thing. He can only pass it along the ground. Such is his run. You've got to be busting a gut, making sure that you're inside the fullback, and it's a simple tap in.
Here come Birmingham again. Laird to Park Chung-ho. Crowded out of it though by some energetic defending as Fulham managed to clear the ball away above the halfway line. Still in play, was it? No, it did go over the line before it came back in again. Birmingham throw taken quickly by Clara. Bailey will give it across to Cochrane. Cochrane with that shot from the edge of the area, pushed away by Stephen Bender, the Fulham keeper, just a few minutes ago. Birmingham 0, Fulham 2. 5 live for the BBC in the second round of the Carabao Cup. More live action to come for you tomorrow night when we'll feature Nottingham Forest against Newcastle as our commentary game, but we've got the option to follow the story wherever it goes tomorrow. Here is Bilic, former Derby player. They paid a fortune to sign him from Arsenal a few years back, and he was very unfortunate. Got 2 back-to-back ACL injuries on the same knee. Took some of the momentum out of his career, but been doing well at Birmingham. As we hear news coming away of another goal at Goodison Park. Tom Gale.
Everton 3, Doncaster 0, and a third different scorer. Beto this time. Mikolenko gets to the byline, pulls it back. The Portuguese takes a heavy touch. He's inside the 6-yard box before he taps home. It's Everton 3, Doncaster 0.
Yeah, Beto, who scored against Doncaster at this stage of the competition last season. And that should be enough for for Everton to seal the deal tonight. Here come Fulham on the attack here at Birmingham. Castagna to the byline. Manages to help it back to the teenager Joshua King. He's got the support of Harrison Reed back behind him, and he'll retreat to the halfway line to Joachim Andersen and Cuenca. And those two exchange passes, and it's up to Birmingham to come and try and win the ball back. And Yokoyama tries to do that, but Harry Wilson now will glide his way into Birmingham territory. Tries a crossfield ball, which is controlled on the chest on the far side. And then the pass comes back in once again towards the central defenders, and Fulham are holding onto the ball and frustrating their opponents here. They're really letting the ball do the work. This is King on the right-hand side. Back to Castagna. Reed. Anderson. Premier League team using good game management here, trying to take some sting out of these relentless Birmingham attacks that we've seen over the past few minutes. This is Anderson once again. He tries a little floated ball over the top. Stansfield's going to run onto it, but it bounces through and into the arms of the goalkeeper, Ryan Alsop. 2-0 to Fulham here. Back to the south coast, back to Brighton and Henry Moran.
2-0 to Brighton here against the Crawley side, who have put up a really good fight. They'll feel they should have scored at least once in this game. They've had more possession, just as many good chances, unable to find that clinical final touch. Brighton 2, Crawley 0 into the final 10.
Let's go to Harrogate, a goal. Harrogate against Preston, Charlie Slater.
And it's 5-0 to Preston. Militon Osmajic has his hat-trick down the right-hand side, and he smashes it into the far corner of the net. Harrogate 0, Preston 5.
Thanks very much. Attendance here tonight, just shy of 12,000 this evening at St Andrews. A club that have sold 17,000 season tickets, which I'm told is 43% up on last year. Birmingham fans hoping that they'll enjoy a few more victories in the third tier than they did in the second tier last season. It's a through ball from inside his own half from Clower, ends up going straight out of play. It was just too firmly struck ahead of Tyler Roberts, who's now leading the line for the home side. They still trail by 2-0 here, Birmingham City. Back to Brighton again, back to Henry Moran.
Brighton 3, Crawley 0. Tonight's captain Adam Webster powering in a header from a corner. Perhaps a flashing scoreline for the hosts, who lead 3-0.
And let's go to Barrow against Derby and Robley.
Barrow 0, Derby 0. Barrow inches away. Cian Spence off the bench with his free kick, 20 yards out over the wall and clattering off the crossbar. We're 5 minutes away from penalties. Barrow 0, Derby 0.
There's not many games level tonight. Rob could be in for a bit of drama at Barrow as Fulham attack down the left-hand side, and Sessegnon to the byline, can't pull it back, but he does win a corner for his team. He's slow to get back to his feet, Ryan Sessegnon. He's back up now. I think he was indicating he felt he might have been fouled there inside the penalty area, but the referee has pointed to the corner flag.
Yeah, lovely overlapping run from Sessegnon. Great link-up play with Harry Wilson. He was the heart of it. Big switch of playing and a little give and go on the edge of the box. It was a great opportunity for them to finish the game off there, because they had two players running in for a simple tap-in, but good defending from Ethan Laird.
Blackpool have taken the lead away at Blackburn. Blackburn Rovers 1, Blackpool 2. Aidan Coulson with the goal there as they move into the final 10 minutes. Corner here for Fulham, an in-swinger which is punched up into the air by Allsop. That's not fully cleared yet. Roberts tries to clear it, and eventually it's dangerously nodded back towards the goalkeeper. That was high risk, but Allsop is able to gather, and he clears it away up the field, and we go to Leicester and Lee Blakeman.
Tranmere 0, Leicester with so many chances to add to that tally as well. Hamza Chowdhury's just shot straight at the keeper. McAteer and Didi, Mavadidi all going close as well. This one's long since been over though, Connor. Leicester 3, Tranmere 0.
Birmingham City 0, Fulham 2 here. Let's go back to Grimsby against Sheffield Wednesday now. Primji.
This one's over as well. Grimsby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 4. Grimsby do have a corner, maybe a late consolation coming, but it's Grimsby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 4.
Here come Birmingham, Leonard through the middle. Good strength from Sung Hyo to get it back to Leonard. Ball dinked into the penalty area, looking for Roberts, but Sessegnon is back there. Good positioning, and he was able to clear the ball away, but now Kearney will break. Strong running over the halfway line. He's got support of Harry Wilson. Slide tackle comes in from Laird, which is given as a foul. He ran all the way over from right back. He felt he won the ball cleanly there. It's going to be a free kick to Fulham. Birmingham are going to make a change. While all that happens, we go back to Crystal Palace against Norwich at Flo Pollard.
Crystal Palace 2, Norwich 0. Palace pushing for a third, but Norwich have forced Henderson into two good saves in quick succession. Still Palace 2, Norwich 0.
And a goal at Brighton, Henry Moran.
Brighton 4, Crawley 0. A first senior goal for Marco Mahoney, breaking forward after a mistake in the defence, finishing low. This one's done. Brighton 4, Crawley 0.
So they just keep getting these new kids, don't they, Brighton? That production line which produces quality. You know, every time you go to Brighton there seems to be some kid you've never seen before, and he's absolutely brilliant. That's what happens when you go to the Amex. Here, Alphonse Samsted, who is an Icelandic player who's on loan from Twente, who comes on as the substitute here for Birmingham, who are still trailing by 2 goals. So he's come on in place of Ethan Laird, who gave away that free kick, which hasn't been taken yet. Was he a little bit unfortunate there, Ethan Laird, or what was that, a free kick?
I think the referee was saying his studs were up in the way that he went into the challenge, and I thought it was a good challenge myself. I thought it was a wholehearted one. He just upended Harry Wilson, stopped him in his tracks, but very generous from the referee.
Ethan Laird, former Manchester United player, made 2 senior appearances during his time at Old Trafford. But Alphonse Samsted is on for the closing stages of this game, and we've got just over a quarter of an hour to play. Back to Selhurst Park, Flo Pollock.
Palace have their third, Crystal Palace 3, Norwich 0. A cut back from Eberechi Eze, finished off by Jean-Philippe Mateta, his second of the game. Palace 3, Norwich 0.
Yeah, that's some relief for Oliver Glasner, a bit like Everton. Really disappointing start to the season for Crystal Palace, beaten in their opening 2 games. Put in the context of how well they played in the second half of last season. I mean, Palace were brilliant from sort of February onwards.
They sold off the team, Connor.
But that can damage things, can't it? They still have Wharton, though. They got to hold on to him. I saw him on Saturday. What a player!
He's superb, isn't he?
Yeah.
I said the other week that he'd suit Liverpool.
Yeah.
He'd be exactly the type of player that Liverpool would need in that number 6 role.
He is Champions League quality. Rightly into the England squad for the Euros, and Palace will be very much keen to hold on to his services, because as Stephen said, they've already had quite a few departures already this transfer window. Here at St Andrews, Birmingham City 0, Fulham 2. This is the Carabao Cup second round, 5 live for the BBC. Alex Cochrane up from left back, feeds Ayumu Yokoyama. He cuts it back on his right boot, running along the edge of the penalty area here. Showed too much of it to Harry Wilson. I think Wilson's played well in defence tonight. He's done a lot of tracking back to help Tim Castagna behind him. As forward now on the left wing, come the home side with Stansfield. He'll give it back to Sessegnon. Fulham looking comfortable in possession, the kind of comfort you have when you've got a 2-goal lead away from home in a cup game that is drawing to a close. It's all happening in the second half at the Amex. Henry.
4-0 Brighton over Crawley, heading into the final couple of minutes. I'm not sure anything that significant's happened, but I've got to wonder if I've missed something. I don't think I have. It remains Brighton 4, Crawley 0.
Well, that is very good covering from Henry Moran there, because I wasn't supposed to go to him at all. I was supposed to go to New York to Russell Fuller watching the tennis.
Often muddled up, Brighton and New York. Here we've had 3 tie breaks, 2 of them being won by Dan Evans, and he leads the 23rd seed Karen Hachanov by 2 sets to 1, winning the third set tie break 7-4. They've already been on court for 3 hours and 27 minutes. Meanwhile, Yannick Sinner is fighting back, now 2 sets to 1 up on Mackenzie McDonald.
I'll tell you what it is, Russell. I'm thinking American Express Stadium. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to
Great
it.
comeback.
Tenuous
Well
at
played.
I'm digging holes here. Let's get out of it by going to the King Power, Leicester Tranmere. I hope it is, Lee Blakeman.
There's definitely a goal here. Leicester 4, Tranmere 0. Harry Winks, he's just picked it up about 22 yards out, hard and low into the bottom corner to wrap this one up. Great strike. Leicester 4, Tranmere 0.
And a goal at Grimsby for Naz Premji.
Grimsby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 5. Paul Valentin, who's been superb since he came on in the second half, fed by Bannon, and a low drive into the bottom corner. Grimsby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 5.
Fulham about to make a change here. They're going to bring on a very experienced player, Alex Iwobi, former Arsenal, Everton player, long history in this competition. He was a League Cup runner-up with Arsenal back in 2018. He came on as a sub in the final against Manchester City. And that is the sort of quality that Marco Silva has at his disposal. In fact, it's going to be a double change, and Sasa Lukic is coming on too. So no case of giving a few kids a run out here. These are battle-hardened Premier League players who've been brought in to seal the deal tonight.
Yeah, and I think he also feels that he needs a little bit more control in the game, and he's going to bring on Iwobi and Lukic to be able to bring that little bit of experience into the team. I just wonder if it'll be Stansted who comes off on that left-hand side and Iwobi moves out onto that side of the pitch.
Well, while we wait for the change to happen here, I believe there's been a bit of drama at Brighton, Henry.
There certainly has this time, yeah. There's been a red card. Substitute Crawley Town. Jack rolls up with a wild lunging challenge. Straight red. Things going from bad to worse. Brighton 4, Crawley 0.
Thanks very much, Henry. So Alex Iwobi is coming on. Tom Kearney, one of those two, departs. He's given the captain's armband to Harrison Reed. While we wait for play to get back underway here to Goodison Park, Everton, Doncaster and Tom Gale.
Full time, Everton 3, Doncaster 0. Second half goals from McNeil, who deflected home Irabunum strike, and Ndiaye slalom through to stick it in off the post, and Beto tapped in from close range. Full time, Everton 3, Doncaster 0.
And it is Jay Stansfield who departs here for Fulham, and he gets a warm applause from Birmingham. I'm glad to see that. Yes, he scored against them tonight, and it's probably a goal that's going to knock them out of the competition, but they remember how good he was for them last season, and a warm applause from Birmingham City fans, who one or two are just beginning to make their way towards the exits now, but they have stuck through to the final 11-12 minutes here tonight, hoping that their team are going to spark some kind of a comeback here, but it's so difficult against a Premier League opponent like this, who are in such control, who are able to bring on established players off the bench. All over at Grimsby tonight at one of the 7:45 kickoffs. Grimsby, Sheffield Wednesday, Naz Premji.
Grimsby Town 1, Sheffield Wednesday 5. Cameron McJanet's header gave the home side the lead deservedly at the break, but 5 second half goals from Ike Ugbo, Jamal Lower, Callum Patterson brace and Paul Valentin in injury time mean Wednesday are safely through to round 3. Grimsby 1, Sheffield Wednesday 5.
Birmingham City 0, Fulham 2 here. Great to have Gary Rowett alongside us, who was manager there at the back end of last season. Look, it looks like Birmingham are going out tonight, and we never say never, Gary. We've seen crazy things in football, but given who they're up against, given how well they've started in the league, do you think this will be any bit of a setback for Chris Davies?
No, I don't think so. I think there's still been lots and lots of positives. I think that they've just run out a little bit of steam with the changes that they've made, I think, and Fulham have just brought that bit of experience on to control it. But I think that's to be expected in a game like this.
Do you know what's really interesting? What a lot of people don't realise is that the decision making is great at the top of the game in the Premier League players, but what also is incredible is the difference in fitness levels. They're elite in the Premier League. They're even a cut above what's in League One and the Championship. They're incredible athletes, and that also plays into this type of game.
Here is Miyoshi, sorry, down the right hand side. I thought he was going to cross it into the penalty area there. Good work by Iwobi to get back and Birmingham bring it to the halfway line.
And I think what's interesting is, you're right, Stephen, because Birmingham have done exactly that late on in games in League One. Now they're getting that little bit of possession and pressure and quality against them. So
Yokoyama passes it back from the left-hand side. Birmingham in possession, but they can't get into the Fulham penalty area. All over Harrogate and Preston. Charlie Slater.
Harrogate 0, Preston 5. 43 places separate the two sides. It looked every bit of that. 4-0 by half-time. 2 for Leeds loanee Sam Greenwood. 2 for Milutin Osmajic, who then added another in the second half to secure the match ball. There will be tougher games to come for Paul Heckingbottom, but this was impressive nonetheless. Harrogate 0, Preston 5.
Thanks very much. Well, we've all been there, Rob Law. We go to a game, we don't see a goal, you feel a bit disappointment, but at least you get the consolation of
the penalties, Connor. Yes, 0-0 it ends after 90 minutes, both teams with a chance to win it, but penalties it is going to be, and James Collins is the first man up with the ball under his arm as the referee just gives some final instruction to the opposition goalkeeper. Penalties about to get underway here at Holker Street.
Chance for Birmingham, but again they can't pull the trigger. William Williamson in the penalty area, couldn't get the ball out from under his feet. Tyler Robertson's alongside, he couldn't get a shot either. Here's an effort from the edge of the D from Leonard, but he was charged down by Sasa Lukic, and then a brilliant piece of control by Alex Iwobi sends Fulham up towards the centre circle once again. A trip on Raul Jimenez and a free kick to Fulham, and now there's going to be a break because Birmingham are going to make a change. So let's snip to the King Power Stadium. Leicester against Tranmere. Lee Blakeman.
Easy for Leicester, beating Tranmere of League 2 by 4-0. Jordan Ayew's first was the best of the bunch. Right-footed curler from 22 yards. Great goal. Mavadidi and Didi and Winks got the others to make this one end. Leicester 4, Tranmere 0.
And let's go to Henry Moran at Brighton.
Full-time, Brighton 4, Crawley 0. This one going to form. The goals from Adingra, Sarmiento, Webster and youngster O'Mahony. Enough for Brighton. Crawley, though, will rue a stack of missed opportunities. Fabian Hertzler's great start continues. Brighton 4, Crawley 0.
By the time the stoppages are added on, the best part of 10 minutes still to play here at St Andrews. Birmingham City 0, Fulham 2. Birmingham coming on the attack here with Jukovic, who's just come on. We're going to Barrow in just a second. Let's see if Birmingham can get a goal back here. High cross, too high. Let's go to Barrow and the penalty shootout with Rob Law.
Derby missed their opening penalty, blazed over the crossbar by James Collins. Now it is the turn of Ben Jackson with the ball on the spot. The goalkeeper dancing on the goal line. Jackson, left-footed, and dispatches it away to put Barrow into the lead in the shootout.
Thanks very much, Rob. We'll be back to see how that progresses over the coming minutes here at St Andrews. Christian Bielik rolls the ball back to Alex Cochrane inside his own half, and Fulham are going to make another double change. They're going to bring on another 2 very established players. Emile Smith-Rowe is coming on. Adama Traore, who's played for Spain, is coming on. But before all that, we're going to go for an update to where are we going next? We'll find out in just a moment. Birmingham City 0, Fulham 2, the scoreline here. It is Sellers Park and it's Flo Pollock.
Crystal Palace 3, Norwich 0. Palace enjoying themselves out there. Ismail Issar, their new signing, on the pitch, as is Adam Wharton. Now Norwich giving it a good go, but the game's gone really. 13 minutes left, Palace 3, Norwich 0.
Thanks very much, Flo. So Emile Smith-Rowe, acquisition from Arsenal in the summer of Adama Traore, the former Wolves player. Both who've started the opening 2 Premier League games for Fulham this season about to come on. Yokoyama into the penalty area, left-hand side, does a step over, flashes across. Joachim Andersen at the front post wins the header. Harry Wilson volleys it clear, not a full clearance. Leonard wins a header on the edge of the box. Jukovic tries to turn, but he can't get a shot in. Birmingham still in possession. Fulham holding a line on the edge of their own penalty area here. St Andrews crowd urging their team to go and get a goal here and set up a dramatic finish, but it's lashed in by Anderson. Took a deflection. That will be a corner.
Yeah, good pressure from Birmingham. Jukovic coming onto the pitch and having an effect straight away. Dropping a little bit deeper, turning, forcing it down that left-hand side. Lovely little bit of play by Yokoyama, and then it did continue to keep the pressure on. Can they just pinch a goal now and really make a game of this with about 6 or 7 minutes to go?
Corner's going to be taken from the left-hand side. Very busy penalty area, waits towards the back stick Good launching leap by Jorge Cuenca to head it away for Fulham. Back in by Miyoshi. There's appeals for a handball. Nothing doing with the referee, who points to the corner flag. Fulham have got a penalty for handball in the first half.
It's way outside the box anyway, Connor.
Corner is the outcome for Birmingham here. Second corner in quick succession. Miyoshi to take it. Tries to get a whip of an in-swinger. Castaña's header just goes straight up into the air. Lead by Bilic. Heads it out for Leonard, whose shot is met by the forehead of Cuenca. I'm not sure if it was going on target anyway. And then the goalkeeper Bender comes out and gathers, and some of the Birmingham fans thought he'd gone out over the byline, but he didn't. And that is going to be a deep breath by Birmingham, who are back in control here. Back to the penalty shootout at Barrow. Barrow against Derby. Rob Law.
Barrow leading 3-2 on penalties as it stands, and it's Worrell who's just rolled it past Zepperman in the goal, and now the pressure swings the way of Derby County from the spot as they look to get back in.
Thanks very much. Here come an attack down the left-hand side for Fulham. Ryan Sessegnon into the penalty area, pulled it back for Harry Wilson, who should have scored. He's put it across the face of goal and wide. Fulham will make their double change here. Let's just bring in Gary Rowett. Gary, your old team are really, plugging away at this. Some of the teams, the head would have dropped. They could be 3-4 down by now. Chris Davis has got to be pleased by the commitment shown by his players down there.
I mean, be really pleased. Sometimes as a manager, you take those little things out of a performance where maybe if you looked at the scoreline and weren't at the game, you'd think, well, they've lost to a Premier League side. But actually, they've been really, really good. They've had a lot of control in possession. I think what's let them down a little bit, we saw it first half with Ethan Laird, and we've seen it late on. Whenever the ball goes wide, whenever they've got a chance to just show that little bit of extra quality, they just keep falling a tiny bit short.
Back to the shootout, back to Robert Barrow.
And Caden Jackson missed for Derby, but then it's got the better of Barrow as well, because Kean Spence, who hit the crossbar from a free kick in that second half, has just seen his penalty save. Derby County preparing to take their fifth and final spot kick, and it has to go in.
Thanks very much, Rob. We'll be back for that in just a moment. There's a goal kick for Birmingham here away to our right-hand side. Emil Smith-Rowe on for Harrison Reed in the midfield for Fulham, and Adama Traore has replaced Harry Wilson. It's not what Birmingham need. Players of that calibre coming on with fresh legs late in the game. Free kick is won though by Jukovic, the substitute who's come on. He takes it too quickly though. Frustration for Birmingham. Back to Rob Law at Barrow.
And Barrow have dumped Championship Derby County out of the League Cup. They progress to the third round. It was Forsyth who missed his final spot kick, and means that Barrow are through to the third round of the League Cup.
Barrow are through, Blackpool are through. They have beaten Blackburn Rovers at Ewood Park. Barnsley are through. They have eliminated Sheffield United this evening. Leyton Orient are through. They've won away at Millwall. And Watford into the third round as well. They've won by 2-0 against Plymouth Argyle. Those were all 7:45 kickoffs. It's an 8 o'clock start here at St Andrews. So still playing. Tyler Roberts shoots from the edge of the area, but it was a side-footed shot. It had no venom at all. It's a back pass really, and a comfortable save for Stephen Bender.
It made it uncomfortable, Birmingham, for Fulham in this second half. And one thing you would say is Chris Davis will go into the changing room and say, you made it very uncomfortable for a Premier League team, a team that's 2 divisions above, but they're in trouble now.
Oh, mistake at the back. Clairber didn't get a touch on a backward header, but Ryan Alsop, credit to him, sprinted out of his penalty area, got there ahead of Raul Jimenez, and had the wherewithal to bang it into the crowd as well once he'd left his penalty area.
Smart goalkeeping had to be alive for the situation. Simple ball over the top. Clara just looking a little bit fatigued there as he was running back towards his own goal. A little bit of a weak header, and Jimenez tried to pounce on it.
Not much Ryan Alsop could do about the 2 goals tonight. The first from the penalty spot, the second a very good finish by G. Stansfield.
And you watch Fulham quite a lot as well, and I know you'll see Marco Silva. His body language all this game, and I know he's not great in the Premier League anyway, but he's been very, very disappointed, very animated. The head keeps on dropping, the arms keep on coming up by the side, as if to say, what are we doing? He will be absolutely furious after this game, I'm sure.
Fulham, who travel to Ipswich in the Premier League on Saturday. Then they've got back-to-back home games against West Brom and Newcastle after the international break, as Birmingham here continue to plug away, and they win another corner. There's no doubt they're running out of time here. I mean, had they got one back 10 minutes ago or something, this would be right at a knife edge, but As it is, they need to. There has been a goal at Selhurst Park. Flo Pollock.
Crystal Palace 4, Norwich 0, and it's a goal for Eberechi Eze. He danced through the penalty area, then passed it into the back of the net. Beautiful goal from him. Crystal Palace 4, Norwich 0.
We're about to move into stoppage time here. We think there's going to be 7 minutes added on as Miyoshi takes the corner from the far side. In-swinger, Bender came but couldn't get there. Came off the back of the head of Raul Jimenez, and it's cleared away by the shin of Joachim Andersen. Anywhere will do for Fulham there. Back in by Miyoshi. Flicked on in front of the goalkeeper. Bender makes a good save. I think that might have been an own goal had it gone in. Cuenca comes across to thank the goalkeeper for sparing his blushes there. There's the roar from the crowd as the 7 minutes is confirmed.
Yeah, Cuenca was worrying there. He just looked as he slid along the floor. He wasn't in control of the situation, nearly put it past his own goalkeeper. He was absolutely delighted to see his goalkeeper grab it. But the pressure is all from Birmingham now. They deserve a goal.
Gary Rowett alongside, who knows all about the DNA of this club. I'll tell you what, Gary, if they play this well in League One for the season, they're coming up no problem.
Absolutely, and I think you've seen the crowd's response to what they think is a really good performance, because they've stayed behind the team all the way, haven't they? And the team have shown so much quality, so much resilience, and literally all they're missing is a goal with this performance.
Absolutely.
Yellow card shown there, I think to Adama Traore. Yes, it was. For a foul on Mark Leonard. Free kick to Birmingham, which is near the halfway line, but it is inside the Fulham end of the field. Birmingham playing from right to left as we look down at the blue shirts, the white shorts, the blue socks. Fulham in white. Clearer comes forward, makes up 20-25 yards into the Fulham box, gives it low right-footed pass to Miyoshi. He can't get any further. Sessegnon clears up towards Raul Jimenez, and then he gently touches it into the path of Alex Iwobi, and that sends Fulham into their opponent's half. King returns it to Iwobi, up level with the edge of the penalty area, but then a wayward pass from him gives the ball to Koji Miyoshi, and Birmingham have got it back. Have they got even a consolation goal in them tonight to give a cheer to the home side and the supporters? Jukovic to the near touchline, good interception by Castagna. Fulham have gone through their full pre-season. They've got plenty in the tank for this late onslaught being put upon them by Birmingham. Cuenca, what have you made of Jorge Cuenca this evening, the new signing from Villarreal, playing at the heart of the Fulham defence?
A little bit erratic at times, but I think you're trying to get to get used to the physicality of English football. You need to give him a little bit of time, but there's certainly quality on the ball when he's in possession of it.
He's 24 years of age. He's not the broadest built central defender you've ever seen. He's quite slight. Alongside Joachim Andersen tonight. This is Iwobi on the edge of the penalty area, rolls it back to Castagna. We've already played 2.5 minutes of stoppage time here. Castagna gets it back again. The Belgian international to Sasa Lukic. Iwobi back to Joachim Andersen, who I'm sure Fulham fans are pleased to see back at the club again, having rejoined from Crystal Palace. And here is Cuenca once again. Plenty of space to look up and to ponder, and then to play an ambitious crossfield ball which has worked perfectly onto the chest of Castagna. That's really good distribution from Cuenca there. Castagna to the edge of the penalty area, right hand side, pulls it back for Alex Iwobi. This is the Carabao Cup second round. Fulham on the verge of booking their place into the third round tonight. More games to come, of course, tomorrow. But this evening we've seen Stoke progress with Barnsley into the third round. Barrow, who won on penalties against Derby. Blackpool, who won away at Blackpool, who won away at Blackburn. The battle of the Blacks there. Brighton, who are through, having beaten Crawley by 4-0. Coventry winning by 1-0 against Oxford. Everton bringing a bit of relief for Sean Dyche, winning 3-0 at home to Doncaster. Fleetwood are through, 2-1 against Rotherham. Sheffield Wednesday had a comfortable 5-1 win away at Grimsby. 5 goals also scored by Preston. Preston winning by 5-0 away at Harrogate. Leicester scored 4 at home against Tranmere. Leyton Orient winning away at Millwall. 1-1 between QPR and Luton after 90 minutes, and Queen's Park Rangers won on penalties. Bolton are through, they won at Shrewsbury. Walsall are through, winning a 5-goal thriller 3-2 against Huddersfield. Watford are into the third round, and here Fulham almost there, and Palace surely there into stoppage time, leading by 4-0 against Norwich, as Fulham get a free kick here on the edge of the penalty area. Can they get a third goal tonight that would probably flatter their performance, but send their fans home in very good spirits?
Yeah, lovely keep ball from Fulham, and then just an injection of pace by Emile Smith-Rowe, jinxed by about 2 or 3 players. I wouldn't be surprised if Fulham just keep the ball here. or if he goes for the shot, he makes sure that he blazes it over the bar if he doesn't get it on target, because what they don't want to do is leave themselves vulnerable to a counter-attack.
Sasa Lukic's body language suggests he fancies a shot. Is that just a decoy? He's taking his time over it. Adama Traore's up in the penalty area. Anderson's up there, Cuenca, Castagna too. There's a full wall erected in front of goalkeeper Ryan Allsop. As here comes Sasa Lukic, and he tried to bend it over the wall, but it clipped the top of that wall and it ricocheted up into the arms of Ryan Allsop. Well, Fulham made 11 changes tonight. It just shows the strength in Marco Silva's squad, having beaten Leicester in the Premier League at the weekend. There's no shortage of depth. And that said, last season Fulham used the fewest players of all Premier League clubs. It was a very tight-knit team for Marco Silva, but it just shows tonight he does have extra resources available should they be required during the campaign.
I like to look at Joshua King, so comfortable on the ball.
17 years of age to the batter board. Here is Adama Traore. Did he take it too far? Ball into the back of the net by King, but it's not going to count. Adama Traore, who got up ahead of steam, and he ran it just over the byline before he pulled it back.
Yeah, just so frustrating, Adama Traore at times, because he didn't need to take the extra touch, gets it to the byline, runs it out of play, and Joshua King would have been delighted to get a goal coming onto the pitch.
That was almost perfect Stephen Warnock punditry, by the way.
So
you're praising King, and then no, disallowed goal. This is Tyler Roberts for Birmingham. Back inside his own half, he needs to get forward, but surely time is up. Williamson, good pass in front of Yokoyama, into the penalty area now. Birmingham fans to the edge of the seat, can he get the shot? Pulls it back, Williamson! It's all power, it's no accuracy. It blazes into the crowd. And that's probably been the difference of the team tonight, the quality of the finishing, because Birmingham, Gary Rowett, have got into innumerable goal-scoring chances tonight. On another evening, they could easily have scored the 2 to level this up.
I think their build-up play and their creativity has been absolutely fantastic up until the final third, and I think that's been the big problem, hasn't it? Once again, it's well worked. Miyoshi across the middle of the pitch, drifts it wide. Good play, from the winger Ayuma. And he just falls to Williamson. Just can't quite get these shots on target, but it's excellent play once again by Birmingham.
That might be why he hasn't shot earlier before, because he had a great opportunity, didn't he? And when I looked at you and you were like, pull the trigger. It might not be a strength.
Oh, there is the final whistle tonight. Bang on the 7 minutes of stoppages. Keith Stroud brings to an end a game that on paper sounds very one-sided. Birmingham City 0, Fulham 2. Goals from Raul Jimenez for the penalty spot after 10 minutes, closely followed by Jay Stansfield on his return to the club that he played on loan at last season. In truth, Birmingham played better than the scoreline suggests, but this is the reality of third tier against Premier League, and Fulham had the quality to get the job done in style. They go through to the third round.
Yeah, really enjoyable game. I mean, Fulham capitalised on mistakes by Birmingham in the first half, took their opportunities when they were presented to them, but credit to Birmingham, they played from a shape. It was organised, it was good in transition when they went forward. They caused Fulham problems, but they just didn't have that quality in the final third. But Birmingham fans will go away pleased with what they've seen today. Fulham fans will go away and say yes, it's a win, but it was a little bit of a frustrating evening, and I'm sure Marco Silva won't be happy with this team.
Well, having lost on the opening night at Old Trafford, it is now 2 wins back-to-back for Fulham as their season gets kick-started all over at St Andrews. Birmingham City 0, Fulham 2.
Thank you very much, Connor, and thank you very much to Stephen Warnock and Gary Rowett at St Andrews. As the guys have been saying, it was a comfortable win for Fulham in the end, but plenty to admire in that Birmingham performance. And it was an 8 o'clock kickoff as well in the game between Crystal Palace and Norwich. Not much jeopardy in the final stages, Flo Pollock.
Time, in fact, Kelly. Crystal Palace cruise to the next round. They've beaten Norwich 4 goals to nil. A brace from Jean-Philippe Mateta. A first Palace goal for new signing Daichi Kamada. Eberet Chieze with a trademark run and finish for the fourth. A glum watch, really, for the travelling Norwich fans, made worse by one of their summer signings going off with a bad-looking injury. Full-time here, it's Crystal Palace 4, Norwich 0.
And final thoughts from St Andrews from Gary Rowett and Stephen Warnock. Stephen, lots to admire in that Birmingham performance, but for Fulham it's very much job done.
Yeah, it is from a Fulham point of view, but Marco Silva will want higher standards. He'll know that they were put under pressure at large periods throughout that game, and they were very sloppy on the ball, and whether that's just a lack of concentration knowing that they're playing against a League Two team and they're probably going through the motions a little bit. But credit to Birmingham. Me and Gary were just chatting when we had the chance there, saying they're a very well coached team, very well organised, the shape of the team's extremely good. It's just when you go up against Premier League opposition, the quality has to be at the highest level. They'll be absolutely fine in League One, and I'm very sure that they'll be within the automatic promotion places come the end of the season.
And Gary, particularly because although there were lots of changes in that Fulham side, it was still strong players that you wouldn't be surprised to see playing in the Premier League for them.
No, absolutely not. I mean, they were a very, very strong side. When you look at the likes of, Tom Kearney, people like that, in a game like tonight where that's sometimes ideal, and we saw that probably midway through the second half where he just started to control the tempo and he just started to add that little bit of control and know-how. I think it was one of those nights where Birmingham was so good, but also Fulham. These games sometimes for a Premier League team, you just try and do enough. You never quite get that full performance. The players are never quite as motivated to do as well as you'd like to see them as a manager, but they did enough and it was a comfortable win in the end.
Gary and Stephen, thank you very much. Final score at St Andrews, Birmingham 0, Fulham 2.